All right, welcome to another episode of Spare Time. I'm Carlos. Today, my guest is one of my wife's oldest friends, and one of my friends is Amanda Hunter. And as everyone's come to expect, my buddy Mike's here today.
Hello, hello.
What's up? How's it going, Amanda?
Good, good. I thought you were going to say one of your wives and not friends, because I actually claimed to marry you before your wife did. So I was waiting for you to stop there.
That's true. I forgot that.
That's my husband.
I was your third wife, damn it.
You were, yeah.
Yep.
I do. I have amassed a few. So.
Yes, you have.
So for all my guests that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Tell you a little bit about myself. So my name's Amanda, as you mentioned. I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for over 20 years now, and a mother of 2 adult children. I keep pretty busy, typically just with work and friends. I have a core group of friends, and I spend a lot of time with my family. And I am been an empty nester now for almost a year, which is something that's kind of new for me.
Fabulous.
So I'm also a Mastiff mom. I have to throw that in there because that is one of my primary roles in life.
So not so empty nest then.
Yeah, I mean, she takes up some room, but she doesn't talk back too much.
And you're from here because you've been friends with my wife since kindergarten? Or
Elementary school, early elementary school. Yeah, Melrose Elementary. Shout out to all the Bulldogs out there.
They have a name?
Yes, Melrose Bulldogs.
Every school has a name.
I never knew that.
Mike?
Never knew that.
There's like 3 Bulldogs though in the close vicinity here. So
is there 3?
I know there's Sutherland.
Oh, yes. Sutherland. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Forgot about that.
I can't remember who else, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I'm actually wasn't born here. I was born in La Mesa, California. My parents moved up here in 1977. So I
thought
was
you kind of
1.
looked like a Californian.
That explains it.
It explains my love for sunshine for sure. But yeah, I've spent most of my life here, moved away for a little stint in early adulthood to Portland, but that did not last long. Not my thing. So came back and I've been here since.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. So you said you've been a nurse for forever.
Long time now. Yeah.
What got you into that?
What got me into nursing is it was kind of a fluke. So I needed a job. I was a single mom of a almost 1-year-old. Braden was almost 1 at the time. And an acquaintance that I knew had been a caregiver at Bridgewood Rivers Assisted Living, and they were hiring, but they were hiring for a cook. And so I had an interview with the executive director at the time, somebody that has been dear to my heart ever since. I nicknamed her, I call her mother. She's literally old enough to be my mom.
Nice.
And I sat in her office, and she was so hard up for body. She said, do you cook? And I said, no. And she said, well, do you like to cook? And I said, no, but I need a job.
I'm learning.
So she said,
so
you're hired.
You weren't good at interviewing.
No, back then, no, gosh. No, I've changed a little bit since then. So I did the kitchen, worked in the kitchen and cooked for about 6 months, and not my thing. And I'd been watching the caregivers out on the floor, taking care of the residents that lived there, and told her, I think this is something that I'd like to try. And she said, okay, I'll train you. And so I did, I think, a week's worth of training with a caregiver. And, you're not CNAs that are licensed. You don't have to be, I should say. You can be, but most people are not. They'll directly train you to be a caregiver.
Yeah, it only takes a week, you just said.
Yeah, heck yeah. Anyway, my first day on my own, responsible for a hall of residents, I had a patient who was on hospice and was in his active phase of dying.
That's rough.
That was your first patient?
It was my first day on my own. I'd been in there before in training, but yeah.
That's rough right there.
So I was in there with him a large part of my shift that day, making sure he was comfortable, assisting with family coming down that hadn't seen people for decades. It's amazing what death will do to make people want to see, at that point, build a relationship. I'm not sure what that
unfortunately,
they're probably
human
just
nature.
After whatever they're going to get out.
I think it's a self-serving.
It
makes the surviving person feel better that they put
less
closure
guilt,
on it, even if the person who maybe their relative doesn't know they're there.
Yeah.
But that's really a side note. What it boiled down to is I was working very closely with a nurse that was a hospice nurse that day, male hospice nurse. And he asked me to come out in the hall so that he could talk to me. And I walked out there, and I think I was 20 at that point, 20 years old. And he said, you have a knack for this and you're really good at it. And if you want to make any money, you need to go to nursing school. And so I told our RN at the time, her name was Lynette, and she put me in her car and drove me out to UCC.
That's
and
amazing.
was like, let's figure out what you need to do to make that happen.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was enrolled in school very shortly after that, and kind of spaced out getting my associate's degree in nursing because I was a single mom and I was having to work full time, while I did school. So I did prerequisites for 2 years and then applied for the nursing program and got in and did that for 2 years and then moved to Portland. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So that's kind of a good place to start with someone on hospice. Because, I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
well,
That's one way to look at it.
I mean, you can't, I definitely.
You
but
can't screw up that bad.
Oh,
You know?
hospice is always
Only
something
Carlos.
ever since then that's been very dear to my heart. Like
Yeah.
if I thought I
Yeah.
could take it emotionally, I would have been a hospice nurse full time.
Forever, yeah.
I loved being able to meet people there in their phases of life. I've taken care of family members through end of life that have been able to be at home instead of having to be in a hospital. And I love it.
Takes a special person. That would be rough.
It can be rough.
Yeah.
I know Sarah came and worked with you there for a little while.
Yes.
And that was the reason she left, was because she couldn't handle that part of it.
Right.
Right.
But in hindsight, it prepared her very well for when her grandfather was passing
Oh,
away. And
definitely.
she actually went to his house and stayed with him and
he-
basically was her hospice.
He
his
was
hospice
home
nurse.
with hospice. Yeah.
Yep.
There's something very special about years ago, you didn't, if you were being born or dying, it was done at home.
Yeah.
It wasn't done in a hospital.
No.
And so,
That is,
and there's just that's a really intimate time for people, the family, especially both birth and death again. And so when you're in that intimate phase of passing on to what's next, be it nothing, whatever you believe in,
yeah, spiritual, however
having
you want to call
the
it.
ability for your family to see that process and to grieve and know that you're comfortable, you're in your clothes. Sometimes you're in, maybe your bed, your house where it's familiar. It means a lot to people. And I think it helps the family bridge that gap.
Well, it's a lot more comfortable, especially nowadays, because a lot of hospitals are still, they'll only allow one person or two
Yeah.
people in the room at a time.
Bunch of bullshit.
Right.
And, those birth and death are kind of one of those situations where it's acceptable to have a crowd around,
I think there was 10 chicks that watched Braden be born, so I know that pretty well.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
The whole room was full.
I know when
great.
I know
Got
when
his own.
Justice was born, we had a room full, and I really did not want there to be.
The whole fucking
Yeah.
cheering section.
Yeah.
Yay.
But yeah, it makes sense though, because those are intimate family moments, and
Yes.
and so it seems like it'd be good to have, especially in death, because a lot of times people don't have, especially if you don't know it's happening.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to say goodbye, and
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that chance. So.
Yeah, sometimes you know, sometimes you don't know. And I've had that debate a lot with different people. Is it better to know that you're going to die or not know and it just happen? I don't think there's a right answer to that. I think there's pluses and minuses to both ways of it happening. But it's something about acceptance. And, I think people can start the grieving process earlier when they are allowed to be part of it that way. And it's not such a heavy, traumatic thing. And then a lot of people hate hospitals, I don't want to die in a hospital. I don't know very many people that do want to die in a hospital. So having the ability to go at home, if that's the way you want to do it.
I'm pretty sure I'm just going to die on my porch with a cigar in my hand and a freaking glass of whiskey
That would
in
be
the other.
Is that from your wife hitting you with like a cast iron or from
Yes.
something else?
No, I'm
a
just
Blackstone spatula.
I'm just going to kind of pass out on the porch one day, and Sarah will find me in the morning.
That'll be it.
God
Oh.
dang it, Carlos. I told you to get up.
I already told her she's not allowed to die before me, so
Yeah.
I
Wouldn't
can
that be nice? to
I
be able
can
to call
die
that?
however I freaking want. That should be part of being a grown ass man, as you get to
Grown
choose.
ass man.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it be great to choose things like that though?
And women don't
Yeah.
get to choose, but just guys.
Oh, Jesus.
It'd be like.
I mean, we all want to die in our sleep like that, and
Yeah, you
sometimes
do.
it happens, but the majority of the time it does not happen that way.
Yeah.
So it's just
See,
reality.
like my experience and is wake up in the fucking hospital like
Days later,
Yeah, Everybody's freaking pulling your clothes off you so they can look at your tattoos.
So when people tell you that, that you don't know, you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You wouldn't believe what happened to you.
Yeah. No shit. I remember talking to an EMT, and then here I am. What day is it? Oh shit.
Yeah.
You
never know. Life just rolls up on you. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Amazing.
You're very aware of that.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. You are, I don't know what
watch your words carefully.
I don't know what you call that. I mean, most people are like, say they're cancer survivors, but you have it forever.
Right. I have an incurable form of blood cancer called multiple myeloma. Doing great right now. Better than I ever have since I was diagnosed.
That's awesome.
But it is incurable. So there's a chance that in some people it gets to remission status, but it will come back. Whereas normally you get into cancer remission and then you start counting years, like 5 years cancer free, 10 years cancer free,
Right.
And the longer you go, the more of a chance that you're not going to get a reoccurrence of your cancer. And this is a different type of cancer. I was told it's a chronic cancer, like a chronic disease, but it's cancer. And so even if I were to get remission, which is possible at some point, I've never been there yet in the 7 years almost. 7 years? 6 years I've been fighting this.
That's amazing.
Yeah. You've done great, though, because, I mean, I hardly remember that you even have it. I mean, honestly.
Well, I mean, there's some things that I'd never forget. There's a port that's in my chest that runs up my neck. So, there's things that are
You got the constant reminders, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have the constant reminders. But, you guys saw me when I was very sick.
Yeah.
I was bald as a baby's ass. I was very emotional.
I shaved my head just for you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I was swollen from all the steroids. Like,
I remember you found out because you thought you were just being clumsy and like hurt yourself, and you broke your arm or something, if I remember right.
Well, looking back, there was a couple things leading up to it. In fact, the nurses I worked with in my office at the time, when I found out, we were all like, we should have known, right? So I bought a house in 2016 with my partner at the time then, and not long after we moved in, I fell and I broke my arm and, fell on a tile floor. Right. So, it's and I'm 6 feet tall, so it's a ways to fall. But I'm a big chick and I shouldn't have had weak bones. That was when I was in my, I guess I was late.
Yeah.
30s.
Amazons are supposed to be tough.
That's right. We got, well, fuck, I'm tough. I am tough.
I read the Wonder Woman comics. Yeah.
It's Xena, Warrior Princess.
Warrior Princess.
Yeah. So I broke my arm, broke my humerus, didn't need surgery or anything, but that was the first broken bone. And then about 6 or 8 months later, I was doing some yoga stretching on my living room floor because I decided I was going to get into yoga. I needed to work my core. I'd had back pain since I was 14. My back always had hurt me and had gone out sometimes. And so, I was talking to my doctor and she's telling me I need to strengthen my core. So I start this yoga. Well,
Finding your zen.
Felt something pop in my rib area and it hurt and I couldn't breathe and I knew I'd broken ribs. Like without a doubt knew I'd broken ribs.
Fucking crazy.
So I didn't go in for that. And then I was on a trip, our Melrose Girls trip that I do with your wife and a couple of our other longtime friends, 40-year friends. And when you're, young as me at 47.
A crazy lady weekend.
We had our trip planned and we were up the river, McKenzie River? No. Is it the McKenzie River? Yeah, we were up the McKenzie. Anyway, stayed in a little cabin, and I was getting out of the shower after we spent the day at the river, and I reached to get my towel, and I felt something tear in my back. It felt like a muscle. When you pull a muscle or...
Sure.
I don't know, it just was a tearing feeling to me.
You're like, what the hell?
And it hurt like a sucker, and I couldn't move, and I came back and spent the next few weeks miserable. Had gone to my doctor and told her, I think I pulled a muscle. I felt it tear, and she wanted x-rays at that time. And I told her, no, and that's a bad thing about being a nurse. If you're a decent one, your doctors will actually listen to you and let you guide your care. And I said, no, and I've had her, bless her, my primary care for 20 years now. So she knew me. She's known me for a long time. It's definitely muscular. So she's, muscle relaxers and this and that. And it just would not get better. It would feel better some days and then it would be right back to it and all this. And so finally October, so it happened in July. So about 3 months I dealt with this. And I was like, I'm going to a chiropractor. I've had back pain my whole life. I've never been to a chiropractor. So I go and he's, adjusting me and stuff and whatever. And at the same time, I'm calling my primary, telling her I've started seeing a chiropractor now. It's not better. And she tells me, we are x-raying Amanda. And I said, okay. So I go get my x-ray and I'm pulling into the chiropractor the next day because he was having me come back, and I'm in the parking lot and it's my doctor's office on the phone. And she says, do you have a minute to talk? And I said, yeah, I'm just getting ready to go in the chiropractor. And she says, no,
don't do that.
You're done at the chiropractor. You're not going back in. She says, you have about 5 compression fractures in your spine.
Chiropractors is breaking your back.
Yeah. And
put a couple more in there.
They're not brand new. So some of them are older. Some of them are newer. But I think that's the pain you felt.
That's
and
crazy.
She says, you have osteoporosis. Again, I'm 30. I was 40 at that point. 40 or 41. I don't remember. 41, I think.
Just a number.
Shit.
It sucks getting old.
God. Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I said, why do I have osteoporosis? She was telling me the medical spiel. Well,
Sure.
Women or this and that. And I said, Doctor, I won't say her name on here. Doctor, I am 6 feet tall. I am not a small Asian or Hispanic woman that is more at risk for brittle bone disease. Doesn't run in my family. Why are my bones? Why are they breaking? Like,
way to
what is
cover up your
causing
racist
this?
comments immediately.
Oh, whatever. That is a statistic. It's not racist. It's
facts.
a statistic.
Facts.
But typically, your smaller framed females, are the ones that get osteoporosis. They don't. The bigger you are, the bone density is higher and doesn't have the same problem. So she says, I'm going to run some labs. So we started getting labs. And then she called me and said, I've ordered some labs and we're getting out of my comfort zone. So I would like you to see a hematologist oncologist. And I knew right then.
That's when shit got serious,
something's really wrong. And so I had her send the referral over to here in town. A lot of people told me to go out of town, but I decided for my first appointment, I would go here in town. One of the best decisions I've made, by the way. I absolutely love the office that I get treated at. And then I spent the 10 days before that appointment researching. I had the doctor's office, my primary care office, send me 3 years worth of labs. And I looked at my labs to see what they were showing. And started looking up the symptoms that I was having and told my family and your wife, I have multiple myeloma. Like, that is what's going on. And they were, of course, Amanda, you think the worst. You need to wait.
Right.
You don't know that for sure. And no, I don't. I can't diagnose. But we walked into the oncology office here in town and sat down. And again, myself, 2 sisters, and Sarah, all not little chicks, all very emotional. And here comes this oncologist from Oklahoma walking in, and he looks at me, and he's, our age, around our age. He's not, I don't know how old he is, but somewhere around there. He says, tell me why you're here. I said, I think I have multiple myeloma. He said, looks like that's exactly what you have. So now let's talk about what we're gonna do.
He's like, you just made my job.
And I was like,
And you take
He's like, man, I wish every appointment went like this.
You take that moment to look at everybody and say, I told you so.
And he says, the only way to confirm it's with a bone marrow biopsy, and I can do it right now. And I immediately panicked and froze a little bit, like, no, this isn't really happening. But at the same time, I knew I just needed to get it done. So got it done that day, and there was actually 95% cancer myeloma cells in my bone marrow. 95%.
Damn.
There was
that poor
very
doctor,
little
dude.
bit.
That doctor was in that room going,
I
don't want to give this bad news. This fucking room full of freaking 6 foot tall freaking Amazon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just gonna pound me down.
Yeah. So that was how it went. My number, they measure an M protein on your labs. It's specific to myeloma. 6.6. He tells me most people are diagnosed at 2 to 3. He'd never seen a number that high. I was his youngest myeloma patient ever.
I remember when you were going through all that. It was pretty scary, and Sarah was super freaked out about all of it.
Oh, yeah.
But you handled it like a champ, and everything went pretty smooth. I mean, It seemed like it went pretty smooth, and I was pretty impressed with the way everything went through that whole thing, because most of the stories you hear from people when they get diagnosed with things, it's like a shit show. It sounds like,
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe that's the patient's fault mostly. Maybe that people are freaking out, but I always assumed it's because of the way the doctors handle it and the way the hospitals handle it and that stuff. But it just seemed like everything kind of fell in place and went pretty good for your whole process through that.
Yeah.
So
I think there's a lot of factors that go into, that how you handle it and everything. I had already accepted that that's what I had before I was told that's what I had.
Right.
So
you had a little bit of knowledge. And...
Yeah. But, stem cell transplant, when those words were used, and bone marrow biopsy, and the things that I didn't want to have to do,
Dang.
I remember when you told us about the stem cell thing. Up until that point in my life, I thought that was just like something that rich people do.
Rich people.
That really really isn't like a thing. I thought that was just like some voodoo witch doctor bullshit that like fucking celebrities try.
I'm gonna take the blood.
I didn't know it was like an actual thing.
Yeah, it's
funny when stuff like that happens, and I notice the older I get, the more stuff like that happens, and where like my brain thinks things aren't like a real thing. Like my brain tells me, oh, this is just like something on TikTok. This isn't like a real thing. And then you find out it's true and you're like, am I a dumbass?
You're like,
yes, Carlos. The answer is yes.
I think maybe it has something to do with age.
I envision him, the TikTok guy's like, no way.
Yeah.
No way.
Dude, I love that guy.
Yeah, no.
I learned so much from that guy. But yeah, no, I think it has something to do with getting older. You get older and it's...
Yeah.
Oh, that's just something the young people talk about,
Nice.
Which everybody says they're never going to do. I'm not going to be like that when I get older.
Oh, everybody
well, whatever.
But I don't think you have a choice.
No.
No,
until it's in your face and you're, yeah.
Yeah, I always said I was never going to think that people had music too loud or any of that kind of stuff too. But I'm like,
well, that's just.
I'll totally be the guy.
Today's music. Yeah.
I'll be the guy at camp going, freaking, you guys need to turn that shit down. I'm trying to sleep.
Turn that shit down.
Put some real fucking music on.
Get off my lawn.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been that guy for a long time.
Oh, I know. Grumpy ass.
Yeah.
That's some funny shit.
So, you said earlier that you moved to Portland. You were a single mom.
Yes.
And you were a young mom too.
Yes, I was too young of a mom.
You weren't that young.
I had Brayden 2 weeks after I turned 19, so I was pretty young.
There's people that have kids at like 15, 16.
I understand that.
I think that's pretty fucking young.
If you're under 21, you're pretty young to have a kid.
Yeah.
Really, I'd like for any of my children listening or your children that haven't already popped out kids, if you're under 25, you're too young to have a child.
I would say 30.
There's that grow up period that I feel like is really important in those years, those young adult years, and I didn't have that.
100%.
But yeah, I became a mom very, very young, and Brayden was a sick baby. We were in and out of the hospital. He had RSV at 2 weeks old and almost died. He had a hernia surgery at 6 weeks old.
Damn.
Another one when he was 3. He was asthmatic. I mean, the child was a disaster. And I was, it was like terrifying.
So you're learning too at the time.
I was definitely learning at the time, and trying to hold off my mother, who hated medical stuff, period.
Of course.
My mom, anything with medical stuff, very anti it. And I think she threatened to beat up a lab lady or something. And my mother was like...
That generation. You're damn right. Yeah.
My mom was like, you don't say things out loud where people can hear you. Yeah. You use your manners. Like, she was the most prim and proper. That was just her personality. I know you're thinking just like me. I know you are. Anyway...
what?
Like she
definitely not
freaked out on a phlebotomist that came in to draw labs. It's like, if one more person comes and tries to poke my grandson with a needle, and I'm like, oh Jesus, mother, no.
I can understand that though. When I was with my second wife, her youngest daughter at the time, God, I don't remember what it was called, but it was something to do with blood platelets.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like a clotting disorder.
Yeah, and she wouldn't clot. She would just bleed and bleed and bleed. And she was young. She was, I want to say she was like 8 or 9 years old. She was a little kid. And the doctor had us going in there twice a week for her to get blood drawn for them to test it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that poor kid would start bawling the minute we pulled in the parking lot.
Definitely.
And
that's rough shit right there.
If the phlebotomist could not get her blood in like one stick, I was losing my shit.
Yeah.
And
totally understandable.
It was just because
that's human right there.
You feel your kids' pain,
Absolutely.
you know, and it's just
absolutely
it's tough. So
that was a eye-opening experience. I think Braden's illness when he was a baby and young kid, I mean, by the time he was 4 or 5, he was cool. Like, he's not even since broken bones or anything like that. Like, he was fine. It was just those first few years rough. My mom told me
which is surprising because he's kind of a freaking jackass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, she said, if my first baby had been the way, like, experienced the sickness and stuff that you went through with Braden, she said, I wouldn't have had more kids.
Never, yeah.
And I guess my brain just forgot because there was 8 years between, so I gave it a rest. But yeah, he was a sick little dude, and I think that and my mom's illness. When that nurse pulled me out in the hall and asked, told me if you want to do this, you need to think about being a nurse. That's what I thought about. Like,
was your kids?
Yeah, and having the ability to know what's going on, because when you have someone that's sick, and they're telling you what's going on, if you have no medical knowledge, it's all like someone speaking a foreign language, kind of. Mm-hmm. Some of the terms and you've heard some things before, but to actually understand what's going on in the human body and to have that ability, that was intriguing to me.
Well, and just for listeners that don't have this, you are like our...
I know what you're going to say.
We don't Google medical stuff. We just call you when we have issues.
Don't Google medical. Nobody should be Googling medical stuff.
There's no WebMD.
So
it's
if you
Amanda
don't have
MD.
a friend that is a very well-trained nurse or doctor or whatever, you should get one.
Hell yeah.
Because they're like a lifeline all the time.
Yeah.
Even the stupid shit, shit about me that people should not know about me. So, I mean...
Yeah.
And it's just great. I mean, it's good to have a friend like that you can call on when you've got questions, because you'll just scare the shit out of yourself Googling things.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's a really great way to make you think you're dying, no matter what's wrong.
Oh, no matter what you Google, you're dying from it.
Yes, it's terminal.
Yeah. Oh, I've got some little blisters on my finger. You Google it. You got leprosy and you're gonna
dead.
Lose your fucking arm.
Syphilis.
Yeah.
Stay away from people.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah, you're highly contagious.
Yes. Yeah, don't Google things.
Yeah, call your previous partners and let them know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, no, it's nice to have somebody that knows something that you can call on. So you got into the nursing field.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like basically because you just kind of found that you enjoyed taking care of people.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
But you were in that field for quite a while before you decided that you wanted to get to further your education. And was that purely because you just wanted to make more money at it, or what keyed you to that?
It was kind of a combination of things. I had my associates and got my first nursing job was at Providence Portland Medical Center right off of I-84. For those of you that know that area, you see it right off the highway there, freeway. Sure. Loved working for Providence, and loved the hospital. It was a really great job that I had, but I ended up needing to come back to Roseburg, and talked to my bosses at the assisted living that I had been at, and they happen to have a nursing position open, and there's one nurse that runs that building for the care that's happening there at the assisted living. So I came back and took that position, and it was at that point, I had Lizzie, so it was a job where I could bring my newborn daughter to work with me. I went back to work when Lizzie was 2 weeks old, and she went with me, and then until she was 4 months old or whatever, I just closed my office and nursed her, and then I started taking her out at that when she's mobile to go to her grandparents, and I couldn't have her with me anymore. But that job really allowed me to do everything with my kids. I made my own schedule, so I never missed a game of Braden's, and he played every freaking sport. And elementary and middle school. That child was involved in everything. He needed that, right? So I wanted to support that. But again, single mom, I didn't have a lot of the backup. Jessica and Ivy were still in Portland for a long time after I came home. So I did that. And I knew I needed retirement. I started getting older and I needed a job where I had really good benefits, made a good wage.
That's crazy.
And had a retirement plan.
At what age?
I was in my early 30s.
I didn't start thinking about that shit till like fucking 5 years ago. That's how dumb guys are. Right there.
Yeah, you're not going to get an argument on that.
I still haven't started thinking about it.
Holy crap.
So I decided that I would need to go back to school because I didn't necessarily want to work for the hospital and local hospital. And I had always kind of wondered about working for the VA. My dad's a veteran. My grandfather was a World War II veteran. Daddy's a Vietnam veteran. And I loved my VA rotation in nursing school. Loved it. So I knew to get my foot in the door there, I had a much better chance if I had my bachelor's degree. So I went back to school and I got my bachelor's in 2013. So I was a nurse, RN in 2002, took my LPN exam on 9/11/2001. That I will never in my life forget, right? So that was my first time I was a nurse.
So basically, you got a free pass.
Oh, no. I didn't get a free pass, but I should have. I mean, I contemplated not, asking to postpone.
Yeah.
It was scary as shit, and I was up in Portland, because that's where the testing center is. Anyway, got my RN in 2002, graduated with my bachelor's in 2013. And Sarah was working for a local newspaper here at the time and happened to come across a very vague ad in our local paper.
That's crazy.
About a government job.
Top secret.
Yeah, very, very little about it, but a nurse. And it said, it talked about working with caregivers. She's like, you should check this out. So I applied and it was a VA position. And I think from the time I applied until I was done with the interview process, it was like 5 months, right? Like very slow. And had 2 interviews, and you get all these extra points if you have if you're a veteran yourself, if you're married to a veteran,
right.
If and I had big fat goose egg for extra points.
Checking
so
the boxes.
Probably not going to get in the door here.
Yeah.
But I did. And the rest is history there. I've been there for almost 11 years now.
Nice.
And got my master's.
Yeah, you got a master's degree now.
Yes. So. I figured out after I started at the VA, they actually have a program. It's called NNEI. It's an education incentive for nurses where if you have to apply, but if you get selected, they will pay for your next degree, and it's bachelor's or master's. They don't pay for other degrees, I don't think. And then you agree to work for them for 3 years after you graduate.
Well, and it's government, so they pay based off of what your education level is. So you get it. You get an instant raise no matter what. So.
Correct. Yep. And 3 years went by really quick. So.
Well, that's cool. I like that you've kind of been on the same path your whole life. Shortly after high school.
Life, yeah.
You've been doing the same thing.
Couple years not doing a whole lot, and then once I found a direction in life, I have been all in, and I have never has it been something I've ever even contemplated being a bad decision. So, and still now I hear about people, some of our friends' kids, they're going to nursing school, and I think it's an amazing career. Yeah. There are so many different things you could do. Like right now, if I decided I'd like to deliver babies, I want to be a labor and delivery nurse. I could show up, probably get hired, and get trained on the job.
On the job training, yeah.
Right? Because I have my license. I'm a nurse. Yeah. And, some of the stuff is very straightforward. And in nursing school, you learn a little bit about everything. And then you choose the area you want to go in. And that's where you really get your best education is on the job.
Typically, I think nurses kind of goes the other direction. Like you become a nurse and you work in a department. And then you go to a different department. And you try it. You jump around to a couple different places till you find where you really like.
Sometimes, yeah.
Whereas what you're talking about would be going the other direction, but
right.
Do they consider nursing as a life skill, or is that a trade? Would it be considered like a trade school?
I think that's more of a professional.
Well, kind of. There are what they call, I think they're called professional trade colleges or something,
Right.
where you can get your 1 or 2 year nursing degrees. They are not, so like my associate's degree was an associate of applied science in nursing. So it's an actual degree, like a college degree. Those are certification programs, certificate
So those
programs.
wouldn't be
I don't know what you
transferable to
call
like
them.
medical school if you decided to become a doctor.
Most probably would not be. And I'll just throw this out there for anyone who's ever considered going back to school and doing nursing. Do not even waste your time with a college that is not an accredited college, because employers like the VA or other government agencies, not just the VA, they won't even consider your degree.
Yeah.
Because it's not from an accredited university or college. So, yeah, there's important things you need to think about if you're going to go that route.
So you can't become a nurse from like DeVry online at home.
Arizona.
I mean, you probably can. I don't know.
Arizona Tech.
I certainly wouldn't want you treating me for anything, though.
Why?
So
I got a paper.
Whatever. You got into the whole career field.
Doesn't mean
by just saying I don't know anything, but I'll come cook for you.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, come on.
Wait.
And then they're like, you know what would be good for you?
You should be.
You should take care of these people that are going to die anyways. We'll just stick you in
Holy
here.
fuck. Yeah.
So my charming
That's one way
personality
to
has
look at it.
everything to do with everything that's been every opportunity.
It all
that's been
makes sense
afforded to me.
now.
Yeah, now we know how it works.
Oh shit. Oh god.
I wish life was that easy.
Yeah. So
no kidding.
Besides taking care of people,
Right.
you also like to well, you're an empty nester now.
I'm an empty
You're
nester
just a
now.
dog mom.
Yes.
Dog
And
mom.
so I think being on your own has inspired you to now want to become more involved with, carrying a firearm and protecting yourself, that kind of stuff.
1,000%. Yes.
I thought you were going the other
1,000%.
way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Thought she was getting too close to her dog.
yeah.
Jesus.
The crazy cat lady. She's a crazy
Oh,
dog.
God,
lady.
no.
If she had cats, dude, this would be a lot.
The
longer.
only cat I have
No
is
shit.
my Grandcat, and I'm counting the days until she moves out because no.
Grandcat.
The fact
Not
that you
working
call
well
it a
with me.
grandcat
What
already
the
makes you a crazy
fuck?
cat lady.
Oh, I don't care. She's a Grandcat. She's a fucking terror.
That's terrible.
She's terrible. She's the
That
worst
is
roommate
terrible.
ever.
That is terrible.
But anyway, so you've gotten more involved in that. I know
Yeah.
you went through one of our concealed carry classes.
Yes.
You've been wanting to get a little more training with firearms before you actually purchase one.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that whole process. I mean, as far as I'm a guy, so things are different for me than they are for a woman, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What is that like trying to maneuver through that whole gauntlet of learning and stuff as a single woman?
So, I mean, I've been around firearms most of my life, so it's not like it wasn't something I was familiar with. I feel like everybody, but especially every woman, should have the confidence and knowledge and skill set to defend themselves against anybody who is threatening them physically,
Yes.
whether that be someone you live with or whether that be somebody
100%.
who approaches you on the street. So I just felt like I was at a point in my life where, I've always really relied on my physical abilities and strength.
You're 6 foot.
And I have some limitations now with my spine issues, and I've had spine surgery, and my bones are not strong. I have to get shots to boost the strength of my bones and stuff. So I can't lift like I used to. I just used to feel like a very strong and capable female. Felt a little more vulnerable, I think.
Sure.
And living alone, I say that. And anybody that is a creep listening, you do have to get past a Mastiff before you get anywhere near me. So just remember that.
Well, I'm gonna
Well,
add.
I don't typically post my guest's address.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, I'm just gonna add because we all know you. As in the past, we've been around you with handguns or rifles, and you need some training.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely scary to watch you handle a gun, but
Yeah.
I will say I like the fact that
Wait. I want you to clarify. Not handle it like everybody ducks when Amanda puts it in her hand. You
No,
mean
pretty
like
much that's
shooting-
what he's talking about.
that is totally what I'm talking about.
Whatever. Please.
Oh shit! He just handed that to Amanda?
Whatever.
What the hell is he thinking?
No, but I am proud of the fact that you are trying to get some more experience with it, and
no shit.
And that you are going that extra step. I think, and this is for anyone. This is not just for women. I think once you get a little more training with a firearm or whatnot, whether you carry one or not, it builds your confidence. Period. Overall,
absolutely.
Certainly,
you feel like you can protect yourself a little bit better. And confidence is the most important part of the whole thing. I mean, I think a lot of times people put themselves in bad situations because of a lack of confidence.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, if a guy's coming at you and, you know, they're going to attack you or break in or whatever this bad person's trying to do.
Yeah.
And you're like standing in your doorway going, "Bring it on, motherfucker."
Hey,
they're less likely to do it.
Are you sure you want to do that?
And you know that is me. Like, my mouth runs before anything else with me.
But I mean, they're less likely. They're going to be like, "Wait, I can find an easier house than this."
So it's one of the things they teach you. I've taken 2 self-defense classes early in my college education, actually. So I was in my early 20s. And that's one of the things they teach you is, you know, predators, no matter who the predator is, if they're looking to harm somebody, they want a victim, right? So if you present as a victim, not paying attention to your surroundings, keeping your head down, girls these days focused on their damn phones, right? They're not even watching where they're walking. Everybody's walking,
100%,
looking down, and not, you know, being aware of what is happening around you all the time. You're asked, you know, if you happen to come into contact with somebody with negative intentions, you are making yourself a target. So the best thing you can do to protect yourself is be aware of what's going on around you at all times. Don't take it for granted and don't trust people. Yeah. Like, you know, you should really treat everybody the same way unless you know them and you know you can trust them.
Sure.
Have a cautious guard for anything.
Yeah.
Because Ted Bundy was a charmer. So.
Well, you never know when someone's trying to throw you in the freezer.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So in that self-defense class, though, the instructor would have her husband come in, and it was a women's only. We're allowed, and that was a comfort thing because a lot of women took it because they've had personal experiences.
We've had better experiences with our classes than we did as far as self-defense classes and stuff. If we did them as women only,
absolutely,
we've had way better than when we let them be mixed.
Yeah, so. I mean, you're just going to get you're going to get more comfort from the participants and probably more people that are willing to do it.
Sure,
but. He came in and he was all padded up, and it was towards the end of the class, and we were showing our skills.
You all got to beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, he's like coming in, and he's going to grab you from behind, and we were taking turns, and it was my turn.
You guys didn't know that guy was totally into it.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know.
But that was his ultimate dream.
Standing there waiting, and you know, you have your back to him.
That's fucked up.
And he goes, "Wait, I'm not starting yet." And I said, "Okay." And he says, "You know your chances of getting attacked, like random attacks, are slim to none, right? Because I'm a big chick. Yeah. They look for people they can overtake easily."
But you know, in the scenario, if you know you have that friend that's in that stature, a statistic that's you're damn right you're going to protect them. Yeah, you know, it's not the run.
Yes. I worry about Lizzie.
And I don't know.
Yeah, your kids.
I don't know that. I think your chances of being attacked
are
slim anyways for any woman. But the chances of you getting in a situation where you need to defend yourself are not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of home invasions. There's a lot of in bigger cities. There's a lot of carjackings, that kind of stuff, and you know those. It don't matter whether you're a woman or a guy.
It does not.
That's a
if you walk in
circumstance by chance.
If you're asleep in bed and someone busts in your front door,
they're not going to say, "Oh, she's 6 foot. I'm not going in there."
Yeah, they're going to go in there anyway. Feel a little bit more confident about your abilities or what you do or what you have. It's that much more
highly recommend it.
Yeah. I feel like, I guess, no kids in my house now. Things like that make me more comfortable with the thought of having a gun and having it where it's accessible to me right by the bed. You know, I don't have grandkids yet. Hopefully that fixes someday, but no, I don't. I have to share yours. They don't live with me. So I feel more comfortable just having that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm ready to have I don't want to just get one to get one, though. I want to get one that I'm comfortable with.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that.
I
Yeah.
want to get
Definitely.
something that I know that I want, that works for me
100%.
for shooting. So, yeah.
Well, and like I was saying, I think people should get weapons that equal their training level.
Yeah.
So and their willingness to learn more
For the skill.
I mean, if you're planning on taking a lesson or two and really not going out and practicing at all, then you probably only need to have like the simplest of
bare
things, like
minimums,
like a
mace.
revolver or a shotgun or something like that. But if you're going to go out and practice and actually take further training, then you can get a semi-auto or a freaking AR or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe you're really going to get into shooting,
You never know.
But if not, you should start with where your training fits.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we teach in the store here all the time, anyways.
That's why I mentioned she needs training.
Yeah. Well, part of your problem was
looking through the
you're
scope.
left eye dominant, but
goodness.
right-handed, or
No,
opposite.
Oh my
First
goodness.
of all, I'm left-handed.
Left-handed
I'm
and right eye
very strongly
dominant.
left-handed, and my eyes don't work apart from each other.
Yeah.
They're a team.
Yeah.
So I can't wink. I can't close one eye.
Yeah.
Never been able to.
For a handgun, that's even better though, because you should really learn how to shoot both eyes open.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, I've always had terrible eyesight, but I had cataract surgery last year. That's talk about feeling like an old person. Walk into an office for cataract surgery. Everybody in there is freaking 80.
You're like, what are you delivering?
And then there's
I'm not here to deliver. I'm here to get a surgery. They're like, bullshit.
Yeah,
They thought you were the nurse.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I had that done, and so I don't know now. I haven't tried to shoot a gun since then. I don't know if that's going to make a difference because stigmatism and everything else with vision. Who knows? But
it's just
I still can't close one eye or wink.
We'll take you out. We'll get you trained up.
Just feeling the power. And you're like, I want one for each hand.
What did you think? Like I said, you went through our concealed carry class. What did you think of that?
I really enjoyed it. I learned a ton. I thought the instructor was great.
Was that through Mark?
He was engaging.
Yeah, Mark did that one.
That's awesome. He
was engaging with his audience, a great presenter.
Yes.
Really explained things very clearly and well. It was a women's only class that I went to, and I liked that. I thought it was a good vibe in the room. Like everybody, got along, and there was all different skill levels in there and experience levels in there. And so I liked hearing, some of the older ladies that had packed guns their whole lives, and, they were still there. And I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, I thought it was a great. I would highly recommend it to anybody. Nice. I still haven't turned in my paperwork. Is that a time limit thing, by the way?
Just the multi-state one.
I'm not even necessarily worried about that one. I mean,
the Oregon one, he doesn't date, so you can use it.
Oh, okay.
I've done it 3 times.
So you have. You've done the class 3 times.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
And still never done your paperwork?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
I love it. I'm going to do it again too. I'm trying to get my daughter down here. So.
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Legally, I can do the women's only thing now, because legally, I was like, hey,
you're a bitch.
No, you can't. You can't ask me. This is Oregon, motherfucker.
God.
Oh, you. What's the? How do they say that? You.
Are you assuming my gender?
Yeah. That's funny.
No.
So
100%. I think
I think everybody should go through the class.
Definitely.
I agree.
do.
Regardless if you want
I
to
think it should be a fucking high school class.
I do too.
I would not argue with that either. I mean, I feel like a lot of these kind of life skill things that are out there and available should absolutely be taught. All of our kids should know this stuff.
100%.
Everybody should learn basic firearm safety.
Yes.
Just like everybody should know how to change a freaking flat tire.
Or just survival skills.
Yeah. And knowing how to do it is the main thing. Doesn't mean you're ever going to. I know how to change a tire.
Exactly.
I could do it.
How many tires have you changed?
Would I ever have to do it? Probably not. Yeah. I've never personally changed one.
There you go.
But I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like I know the steps and the process. And now I just have run flat, so I don't have to worry about it.
You got a cell phone too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
hey, fucker, I got a flat tire.
Well,
Get down
you
here.
reach a certain age and you really don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But
Right.
when you're young, especially if you're not from a well-off family that's paying for everything.
Yeah, yeah.
When I grew up, I mean, it's not the same now as it was when we grew up, but when I grew up, I mean, I had 20 cars that didn't cost $500 before I freaking ever had my first decent car.
Yeah.
If you didn't know how to change a flat tire, you were not going anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a
I mean,
do or
I
die
used
situation.
to be able to
Sink
change
or
a tire
float.
in
Here we go.
Freaking a minute and a half. I mean, it was fast.
And then
That is pretty fast.
Yeah, and your dad was like, "I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, yeah,
He'll take care of it."
And that was, and
even if you did call, your dad would like,
figure it out. Yeah. But we used to get I couldn't afford new tires, so we'd go to used tire warehouse in the middle of the night and dig through the pile until we found
what'd you call them?
Mexican racing
there you
slicks.
go.
Yeah. So we'd find ones that fit the car and didn't have threads showing.
The most tread out of any,
this will last a month or two.
Oh, we didn't. We just found it until we found one that didn't have threads.
Oh.
Yeah.
As fast as possible, and it was the first one you found that was the right size and didn't have threads showing. That's what got put on your car.
Goddamn right.
And you ran them until they were threads showing.
Yeah.
And then you'd go do it again.
Huh.
Yeah.
But and I think a lot of kids don't have to experience that nowadays.
No, they don't because mom and dad do it for them.
Yeah. Well, and things are different now. I mean, they've kind of priced that whole thing out. I mean, it costs $50-$60 to have a tire mounted anymore. When I did it, it was $5.
$7 total.
Yeah, it was like $5 or $7.
That's with the cost of the tire.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, but I agree. Those skills should be taught.
Yeah.
Just like
100%.
I've had employees that I had to show how to write a check. They didn't know how to write a check.
Yeah.
Well, and that's one of those things that's kind of the need is almost disappeared now.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you have a business, so that's different. How often do you write a check, Mike?
Every month, but
not me.
I mean,
Mike, you're definitely older than me.
Well, I mean, they don't even teach cursive in school.
Right.
So how do people learn how to sign their name?
I had a friggin' employee. It's like, I can't read that. What does that say? It's like, that's my fucking signature. That's cursive writing. And they're like totally clueless. Is like, what?
They do. I have people sign stuff all day long. Customers all the time.
Yeah.
And lots of young people
really
just print their name.
On a lot of legal documents, it says print or signature. They have no clue that means something different.
It says print your name and then sign, and it looks exactly the same next to each other. They're like, I never understood why you have to write your name twice.
Yeah, why am I doing this twice?
It's because you're not signing your name, jackass.
I cut my signature down.
What's cursive
years ago, and I quit signing my first name. I've been A period hunter forever now.
You can't read what I freaking signed.
No, you can't. I've seen your signature.
Yeah. I think you can make out the M on mine and maybe the P if you look at it really hard. But
well. Creating your signature used to be one of the coolest things ever.
Right.
You're always, as a young kid, you're like, I'm going to be famous and I'm a sign.
Yeah. Now people are like, I don't even know what that is.
What the fuck is that?
That means.
Why did you scribble on that perfectly good picture?
I guess I didn't think about the signature part of cursive, but
There's reasons for everything.
Right.
And people just keep eliminating things.
The new time clock.
Even though, without considering that there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
You know?
The new time clock at work, that the month struggle that we've been having, somebody had wrote down the directions in cursive. And that's where it all came about. I was like, what the fuck is that? I can't read that.
Yeah. Why is this in a different language?
Yeah. Are you serious right now? You're 27 years old. Are you serious? It's like, oh my God.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, you got to hold people's hands.
I had to turn around and walk away is what I had to do.
So I have figured out, well, I've had a lot of, before this, I was at Lowe's forever.
Yeah.
So I've dealt with a lot of employees over the years.
Sure.
And that's one thing that it's taught me is you have to not take anything for granted. I mean, you have to basically erase all of your knowledge and pretend like that is them.
There is
starting from scratch.
Yeah, explain it to them like they're a 5-year-old.
No critical thinking. There's no common sense. Yeah. That's.
And some people, there's different levels. Some people know more than other people, but otherwise, it basically saves you frustration because
I'm all about that.
Yeah. Because all you're going to do is piss yourself off. You're going to be like, how can these people not know this?
Are you fucking kidding me?
And they're like, well, it's not common sense because I was never taught any of this.
And then you get in that situation. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to call you a fucking idiot.
Well, I wouldn't do that. I would never
do that either.
Consider them an idiot.
I would never. I would never have to go tell somebody, no, I didn't call them an idiot. I asked them if they were an idiot.
Yeah. That's right. That makes it acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you're not calling people names.
Yeah. No name calling.
Yeah. That hurts people's feelings.
Yeah. Otherwise, they can fuck right off.
Little assholes.
So, you and Sarah you do multiple things every year.
A road trip.
Yes. You do like a ladies' night.
Damn road trips.
Or a ladies' weekend, usually. Some little camping trip.
Trips.
You do
random
road trips.
Backing into
but
stumps.
Sarah actually started something, I think 2 years ago now.
Yes.
Which is her annual ladies hunting trip.
Oh,
shit.
Which there's very little hunting that goes on.
I take that. No, there's a lot of hunting that goes on.
But
it's not effective.
You've been a couple times.
I actually, last year was my first year.
Oh, was that your first time?
Yeah, because the first year
Did you stay up there?
It was the year I was going through my divorce.
Oh, okay.
And in 2021.
What?
Breaking news, Mike. Breaking news. Yeah, so that was the first year they had done it. And Justice went that year. Mariah. There was a group of them. Stephanie, yeah. And I think they were down outside of Canyonville?
Yep.
No, Galesville. That's where they went. Yeah. So that was the first year, and I did not make that trip, and I was so sad.
Well, you definitely did last year, though.
Yes, and I told myself I wouldn't miss it again. Like I will go no matter what.
Even though you're not a hunter at all.
No, but I'll tell you what.
Well, technically you are a hunter.
I am.
Wait a minute. You're confusing me. Stop it with these words.
I don't personally shoot at. I don't
get
a tag and a license and all that. But I love driving around the mountains. And actually, I'm really good at spotting. So I can see deer. Like, I will find them. And I'm game for helping to gut it and, drag it out. I've done it. I don't love it, but I'll do it. But I love spending the day in the mountains. I love the thrill of hunting. I think it's really cool. And I love venison. Yeah. So anything where I get a cut of that still, I'm down. Yeah.
Nice. So what did you think of that ladies hunting trip?
It was an amazing time. Yeah. An absolutely amazing time. We had you guys up there helping us, get set up and then get us some firewood and stuff. I mean, we're princesses, but we can take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So
honestly, I'm more worried about helping out because it's all of my shit that's getting beat up.
It's your camp. Yeah.
It's my stuff getting messed with. So I'm more about let's go check on my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we left a pretty cool sign too.
Oh my gosh. Your guys' sign was the best. Yes. That was the best.
Yeah.
And pretty accurate.
Oh, planned out.
But it's a really, I don't know. It's fun. I think it's 3 years now, but the middle year, I don't think they did it. So I think it's been 2 formal trips.
No, they did 3.
Has it been 3?
Yeah. I think one of them wasn't. Very many of them went though.
Okay, and I don't think they've gotten anything. Right?
Oh no,
it's not been
never
a successful.
No, they've never.
A successful venture, but man, is it fun! It's fun to do.
Which I can't give you guys a hard time on that because Mike and I do multiple hunting trips every year.
Every year, yeah.
And like we get stuff on like 1 hunting trip out of 5.
Yeah.
Don't really care. That's not the point
to
me.
The whole point of a hunting
camp, out away
whether you're guys or girls, the whole
society, that's the relaxation.
It's the camp and
I do love
hanging out with your best friends or whatever and the stories and you eat good and you have some drinks and you get away from life.
Reality.
Yeah,
basically.
camping is one of my favorite things to do. Just being outside, outdoors. I love fires and, being able to bullshit with people, drink beer. It's acceptable to open a beer at 9 a.m. That's
well,
cool.
when I met you,
Uh-oh.
because I haven't known you forever. I didn't
You have not known me
until
forever.
I met you from Sarah.
I knew your brother. I went to school. I remember your brother from school, not you. But
I
yes.
hear that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was way
Marcus,
more. He was way more nice.
Grade,
yeah.
right?
He was way
Yeah.
He
cooler.
was in the same grade as I. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he was a lot nicer to people. Than
Yeah,
I
he was super cool.
But right when I met you from Sarah, you used to have, and that's when you were single then too.
Yeah.
And you used to have back porch nights.
Back porch nights, baby.
And, you had that fucking fire pit on your wooden porch.
Yes.
And I kept telling you, we need to move that.
Yeah.
And when you moved, there was like a freaking burn hole in your porch.
We had to fix that.
What
I
happened?
could sell. But do you remember that night? It was Sarah and I, shockingly, I know.
No.
We didn't even realize it had happened. The problem was, yes, it was on a wood porch, and that was not the smartest thing in the world. But a bigger problem was that we had started our fire and then we had been in and out of the house and not paying attention. And so like the bottom of the fire pit had rusted because it had been exposed to rain off and on. And our fire fell out onto the deck and we didn't even notice until it had burned all the way through. So yeah, that was not our best moment, but yeah, I had to fix that before I could sell that house.
Chalk that up as a learning.
Yeah, but I remember those back porch nights.
You'll never do it again.
Fun.
They were lots of fun. First time I played beer pong was on my back porch. Do you remember that night? First and only night I will throw in there.
Was that when I was playing beer pong with Jaeger bombs?
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys told me that I had to do... Yeah, I'll never drink
another Jaeger. That was a bad idea.
I don't know.
That was way too many Jaeger bombs.
I messaged Sarah from the bathroom and said, I am literally dying in here in case you care. Because I did not think I was walking out of that bathroom. Yeah. It was awful.
I remember when I first started going there, you thought you were yelling at me because I used to just... I wouldn't go inside to pee. I would just pee off the side of your porch. And like, my neighbors can see you.
Fuck them neighbors.
Yeah.
It's dark.
The males and being okay with peeing outside everywhere is really strange to me.
That's
like,
what guys do,
out,
Amanda.
If you're out...
If a guy
country,
does not do that, then he's not
It turned out that your neighbor who could see me peeing...
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I had been partying with her at the bar for longer than I knew you or
That's
Sarah.
True.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
But when you have a smaller yard, it's like, I don't want it to smell like a toilet out here.
It's
little
nature.
boys in the country.
It only
little
smells
boys
like a
anywhere,
toilet in the spot where people pee all the time.
Yeah, that's why it's supposed to be a toilet. You're supposed to fucking pee in a toilet, Carlos.
I learned that later.
Only if you lay down in that spot. I mean, come on.
It's all right at other people's house, though.
Or the wind shifts a certain way, or gross. Use a bathroom.
I remember your stupid.
But no, like guys peeing outside. I don't care if you're like wherever. I mean, I'd be outside.
Yeah, it was those back porch nights.
Yeah.
And you whining about being single for so long that inspired me and Sarah to set you up.
Yep.
For a one-night stand.
How the fuck did that work out?
Quote, unquote.
It did not work well.
That you were the worst person with a one-night stand ever.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
You're not.
I'm not good at that.
Don't take it serious.
It won't happen again.
All fun and games.
So it didn't work out well.
One night stands. It's in the name.
Yeah. Remember,
that's what that means.
You telling or Sarah saying, "I promise I'll never set you up on a one night stand again," and you go, "Yeah," because she doesn't know what the fuck it means.
That's nuts, dude.
We gave you options, even.
Fuck. Those were options.
Oh,
okay.
God.
Hey.
Yeah. Things need to change.
I gave you someone I knew would only be a one night stand.
Oh my God.
If you would have picked my option, you would have never ended up getting
You would have
divorced.
just listened.
Oh, I definitely would have never gotten married or went outside that one night. So yeah.
That's the best part about one night stands is you don't even have to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
As long as you don't get knocked up or knock somebody up.
There's alcohol involved. It's null and void.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, man.
It never happened.
One night stands are the reason why people say they don't know what happened when they were drunk. You totally know what happened when you're drunk.
Straight up facts there.
Just because you're drunk doesn't mean you don't remember. You just had a different set of morals.
You're like, I don't know. I was drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you lie and say you don't remember what happened.
It's not really a lie, really.
That's the freaking whole part of a one night stand.
That's the way it works.
What's that where they talk about where you freaking chew your arm out to get it out from under a fucking woman that you wake up with?
What?
What do they call that?
Escape.
I don't remember what they call it. It's a joke. It's a guy thing.
Yeah.
Chewing your own arm off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a name for it. I can't remember what it is right now, but
Okay.
they talk about you wake up with an ugly chick and you just want to chew your arm off to get it out from under her so that you
It
can get out
works
before
both
she wakes up.
ways. You
Yeah,
know?
I'm sure it does.
Yeah.
I'm sure it does.
No, I'm more of a get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I just don't do that. Sounded good.
Well, since we're on that subject, dating, like where I was when I was single years ago, I felt like I needed a relationship. I felt like I should be dating and, you're supposed to pair up and I'd never been married and, that was something I wanted to do in life. And what in the actual fuck was I thinking? That's where I'm at now. People ask me all the time, are you dating? No. And I have, quite frankly, zero desire to date. What is the purpose of dating? I'm never getting married again.
I think that's an age,
1,000%. I'm never getting married again. That's not happening. And so, and I love having my house to myself. I love my mood depending on me. Nobody impacts my mood or tries to impact my mood except for myself.
Yeah.
I have lots of social things that I do with people that I love. So, I go out to eat.
You're super busy socially.
Had lunch with two handsome guys today. I don't need to date. What is that? It's
you hear that? She's trying to butter us up, dude.
Yeah, something. What are you going to ask for?
What am I going to ask for? Your pickups for something? I don't know.
You need help moving something?
Muscles? What do I ever ask for, Mike?
Let me call the kids.
Yeah. Your kid?
And all we do is send our kids. So we don't even know.
Amanda needs a dump run. You need to call Amanda.
Damn right. That comes with age too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do stuff. I just supervise now.
Yeah. So I
delegate.
If I could go back years, I would, and I would have just stayed single. That's the no-brainer for me.
That's part of life.
I can't give you a hard time for that though. I was a horrible single person.
Yeah,
I'm a good single person. If I have support,
that's why I say it comes with age because you got a totally different outlook now.
Yeah. Absolutely. And my kids were younger.
15,
my kids are out of the house and grown.
20 fucking years ago.
Just different spot in life.
Yeah.
Different spot in life for sure.
I don't know. I like, and don't get me wrong. So there's nights Sarah and I will not. Like, I'll come home and say hello.
You had
we'll eat dinner, and that was like our whole conversation.
You had the fuck you sex as you're passing in the hallway.
I mean, we don't even we barely even say hello. She'll go out on the porch and talk on the phone for an hour, and then tell me she's going to bed.
Yeah,
I give her a kiss, and that's the end of our whole night was just 3 words and a kiss, and that was it. But I will say that when she's not there.
It's different.
I have a hard time sleeping.
Yeah.
I'll stay up super late doing nothing.
That's when he calls me all the time.
I'll be watching TV. And it's just because I can't fall asleep or whatnot. I mean, it's just weird.
Well, and she's on the go a lot. It's not like it's
crazy.
Never happens. And that's why, you have a hard time sleeping like every couple months or something. She has something going on, it seems like.
Busy.
Yeah, she is busy.
But yeah, no, you stay super busy though. You're super close with your family.
Yes.
You and your sisters and your dad you do like a weekly dinner and a weekly brunch and a freaking this.
We stay very close as a family. We have always, my sisters and I have always, of course, Daddy we've always been close to too.
Yeah.
But we're very close in age, so we're all 2 years apart, and raised, our parents got divorced. I was 7-ish, I think.
You're the youngest?
Yes, I am
3?
the baby. Yeah. Oh, nobody can ever take that title from me. I am the baby.
Sometimes
my favorite is when
sometimes you act older. Sometimes
little sis. I've been told that. It's because I'm the most mature. It's okay. I tell them that all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, we're all, close in age, and we've always stayed, I don't know, in the same areas. Like, I moved to Portland because they lived in Portland.
That's an awesome way of life. You're grounded.
I came back.
Family is a big deal.
Family's a big deal to me, for sure. And I feel very lucky to have the birth family that I do. Like, I was born into an amazing family.
Sweet.
my parents, both of them, my mom passed away from breast cancer at a young age, but that also brought us even closer together as sisters, which I didn't quite think was possible because we've always been tight.
No.
But, took care of my mom on hospice at home.
Yeah.
And that was the first person in our family to die. We had all 4 of our grandparents, and Jessica was early 30s, so we weren't young. We were, but, so that was a big bonding thing for all of us.
Definitely.
And I remember my dad looking at us one time, probably 20 years ago. He says, at some point you guys are going to get married and start families and move away from each other. You might move across the country. And we're all just staring at him.
How wrong he was.
Yeah.
You all look at him
that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And he goes, what? That's not going to happen? You think some guy's just going to agree that, he takes you guys as a package deal? We're like,
that's the way it works, Dad.
That's probably going to have to be that way. Yeah. And thankfully,
Yeah, Big Jim was planning on a way bigger family.
He's like, damn it.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah. So, your dad, Jim.
Yes.
He was a veteran and a cop forever.
Hell of a guy.
I love that guy to death. He's hilarious.
My dad is one of a kind.
What was it like growing up with him in a law enforcement thing? And
well, you remember my dad was a cop and my mom was a 911 dispatcher. So law enforcement is like my childhood.
That's how you were raised, yeah.
Is a Vietnam veteran, Air Force, military police, Air Force. So he was 18 and had a choice, enlist or be drafted. So he enlisted.
That's a choice.
Yeah.
That was their choice.
Unfortunately.
It's go to war or go to war.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
You decide.
And I think he had an uncle that was nuts. Law enforcement that he very much respected and looked up to growing up. And so he went on the track of military police and became involved with K-9 training there in Vietnam. And so then he came home and was working for the El Cajon Police Department down outside San Diego, California, and met this 19-year-old dispatcher who had taken that job. And according to my dad, all he saw was legs, which probably
that's a guy thing.
My mom wasn't short either.
Truth. He was speaking truth.
And the rest was history. So yeah, I was raised in a law enforcement family. I mean, all the cops at that time, county. My dad worked for the sheriff's department here. When they first moved up here. And then my mom was a Roseburg City dispatcher. And then I think I was in high school when they merged and became Douglas County Communications.
Right.
So then you had one communications dispatch center for the entire area. But it was separate before then. County had a dispatch.
It definitely was.
And Roseburg City Police Department was down off Rose Street.
Winston had their own too also.
Yes. Yeah.
That reminds me of when Keith was on the show a while back. And he was talking about his girlfriend that he's with. Mm-hmm. He's one of our previous guests. And she was a cop or an MP. She was an MP.
MP, yeah.
Yeah, she was an MP. He was out, and he was in the military. Mm-hmm. He was out on his street bike that he had just gotten.
Yep.
And he was
laid it over. To impress her.
She had somebody pulled over while he was going around the corner where she had somebody pulled over and he laid it over.
Oh, no.
And she ran over to make sure he was okay. Without saying a word, he just jumped back on his motorcycle and rode off because he was so embarrassed. And then years later, he ended up hooking up with her.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
But yeah, that's funny. So I think a lot of people, they say you're not supposed to date people where you work or whatever. But I think that's
you do what's comfortable. That's human fucking nature.
That's where you spend most of your life.
Total human nature.
That's where you're going to meet your people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where you're going to meet your people.
Maybe that might be true for like a big city or something like that, but it's just general human nature. It's wherever you're comfortable.
I was
because of how I was raised. Cops. I've never been scared of cops. Growing up, you're around kids and everybody's scared of cops. I never have been. Like, remember that fire ticket? That's because I wasn't scared of cops. Somebody asked me who has ID in
None
this
of us
group.
were scared of cops.
I'm going to be like, I have
were all
ID.
being mouthy. You were just the one that decided to get up there in people's face.
I'm the one that acknowledged I had identification on me.
I'll be the adult here.
Thank you, Mike. That's exactly what it was. So, I've always...
good luck with that.
Felt very comfortable around law enforcement. I feel very safe around law enforcement.
I was the opposite. My grandpa was a cop. And
that's because you were a punk.
Really?
My grandpa was a straightforward ass. I was afraid. Yeah. He had a fucking whole uniform and shit. He's like,
I think my friends were always intimidated by my dad, especially if they saw him in uniform.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
well, your dad's a big dude.
My dad is a big dude. And, you said something at lunch about he doesn't look his age. I think the way my dad, his physical stature plays into that. My dad doesn't look like an older man,
well,
right?
You
he
doesn't
look like an elderly guy.
That's kind of
right. My
hunched
daddy,
over and stuff.
yeah, I don't think he's shrunk at all. So he's every bit of 6'5", and
that's awesome.
He's big. Like, he's a big dude.
Genetics are a good thing.
Ivy didn't get the.
I'm going to pause this for 1 second so I can take a restroom break.
Perfect.
My customers,
I'm not your
listeners.
Customer.
My listeners would not know what to do if I did not take a break to go pee.
Okay.
All right, we're back. Hopefully, everybody else takes a pee break when I take a pee break. Although, I take a lot of pee breaks, so most people don't need that many.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate how often you take pee breaks.
It's all right. It saves on gas that way when you're up in the woods.
Yeah. Part of getting old, man.
Yeah.
Shit.
Your bladder shrinks along with your memory.
No, you just drink. You just drink more.
A lot of things shrink.
Well, drinking has a little bit to do with it, I guess.
I think so. I'm convinced.
Yeah. So you were telling us about growing up with Big Jim.
Yeah, growing up in a law enforcement family and with my dad. So I guess it was just normal to me. Like, I don't know. I thought that I didn't think anything of it, I guess. But when I got a little bit older, I realized that, people have certain beliefs when it comes to law enforcement sometimes. And it's just always something I've been very respectful of. Most of the people that have looked out and protected me my whole life were law enforcement or still are law enforcement. So, yeah, I mean,
things were a lot different back then than they are now.
They were.
I can't imagine being a cop nowadays.
No.
Yeah, I was glad when my dad was retiring.
You're not that old, Amanda.
I'm definitely the youngest in this room, which makes me feel pretty good.
Yeah.
The baby in here, the baby in my family.
Yeah,
I don't know, when I found out my dad was retiring, which he formally retired from the city of Klamath Falls, he was chief of police for years to end his career. That's what we all thought.
That was after being a county sheriff forever.
He was a deputy here for a long time, and then he took the position for the sheriff's department in Tokenie, where Diamond Lake area, they had, I don't know if they still do, they used to have a trailer up there. It was outside Tokenie somewhere.
Yeah.
Where there's one deputy that's stationed up in that area to cover that,
Yeah, when I lived in Diamond Lake, there was one. His name was Nails.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
good guy.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
I will not say nor not say.
Be careful.
That he was very
lenient,
forgiving and lenient.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
that's what I remember.
There was one guy at Diamond Lake who drunk driving wrecked like 4 Diamond Lake vehicles.
Everything he touched. Yeah.
And he never got a DUI. I mean, that guy just got given a ride back to the lodge.
You
got told,
dumbass.
This guy wrecked another vehicle.
Dumbass did it again.
What was funny was Nails was...
I think I know that guy.
I think he was our pitcher. Because every week, Diamond Lake played Crater Lake.
Yeah.
Like softball. Okay.
The Forest Service. And
basically, whoever got too drunk to continue playing lost.
Won. Oh, yeah. Opposite, yeah.
Okay.
And I think Nails was our pitcher, or he played on our team, but I don't know how many times I played softball frying on fucking acid.
Shit,
and
mushroom.
I just didn't interact with him.
Okay.
Would you look at that? Would you look at that?
I'd be sitting in the outfield.
That's terrible, Carlos.
Flowers like a 5-year-old.
God damn! I can picture it now. Sweet.
But anyways, so your dad was in Klamath Falls. He retired officially.
He retired officially.
Yeah.
My bonus mom, his wife they've been married, I think 40 years now, over 40 years now. They got married like in 88.
That's a hummingbird?
Yes, that's my bonus mom.
Hummingbird?
Carlos says she's like a hummingbird, and it actually is a really good description. She's just always got something going on. She kind of hovers.
I said that the first time I met her.
Yes, you did.
That was at Braden's graduation, wasn't it?
It was around that time on the back porch.
Yeah. It was a back porch night.
Yeah.
That was the first time I met your dad.
Yep. It wasn't graduation. It was the first night my dad was meeting who I ended up marrying.
What's his name?
Okay.
And I was terrified for that to happen without a buffer. And
That's
so
right. I remember
you
that.
were and Sarah were there as my buffer. Yeah. And my dad absolutely loved you. And I remember having to tell him, that's not who I'm dating, right? Because he kept going off about how much he loved Carlos. I'm like, yeah, that's Sarah's boyfriend, right?
That's okay. Where that's my husband.
Yeah, he always asks about you. But he retired from actually doing formal law enforcement. And
I'm going to get him on this podcast one of these days.
He told me he'd come, but he wants to know what you're going to talk to him about.
You're going to have to explain it to him.
I will. I'll tell him.
How it works,
you could literally listen to my dad tell stories all day. He's a great storyteller.
Yes.
And
Dude,
he has
I will tell you what.
Many.
I deal with a lot of my customers are old school law enforcement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they have the best stories.
Yeah, his stories
Always.
are trippy.
Because you realize that all those old cop shows and stuff where you thought that shit was made up.
No, that's legit shit.
That's how it went.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like those guys did some stupid, crazy shit.
Yes.
I should get my ex-mother-in-law in here. I think that would be awesome. Good stories.
Yeah. I'm going to get Pete on here one of these days. And that's,
wow.
Pete's got lots of them too.
So then when he retired, I think it must have been about 2017-ish, they decided they were going to move over the mountain. So from Klamath Falls, where they'd been forever, Vicky retired from the school district there, to Medford. And my dad accepted a position. He applied for a position with OLCC. And when he interviewed for that position, essentially they asked him if he would be interested in the director position. So it wasn't the position he applied for, it was running the place.
Sure.
And he, decided to take that. And then they told him that he needed to go back through the academy. The police academy.
Wow.
Up out of Salem.
You're like, I'm old as shit.
And he was...
I could probably teach the class.
I guess it was 2017. He was almost 70. I don't know if he was 68, 72. Like, he was older. And it was the exact same time that I was getting my stem cell transplant. So I was in Portland at the hospital, and my dad is at the police academy in Salem.
He did it, huh?
Fuck yeah, he did it.
Awesome.
And first he went to a cardiologist to make sure his heart was strong enough, because he was wondering about that. So he went and got a full cardiac workup.
I guess you'd have to, huh?
To make sure, that he wasn't going to stress his heart out or die of a heart attack up there. But what was funny is, to me, like the first time and only time I've ever been to that academy, my dad was speaking at a graduation, and I went and watched, and it was just such a cool thing. And then to picture him as one of
you totally know how him going back through that academy was.
Oh, I know. He was providing suggestions and giving feedback.
They were like, why don't you just stand over here, sir?
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing combat roles and shit. No. He was like, you guys are doing that all wrong. Let me stand over here and show you.
Hold on.
And so he's still, I was telling you at lunch, he's going to be 76 this year.
It's fucking badass.
In a couple months, and he works full time.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
For OLCC. So
and now he's pretty much just in charge of pot.
Well, he'll tell you he's the weed man now.
Weed man.
After doing his position for several years on his own, and, marijuana became legal, I don't remember what year that was. A couple years, I think, after he started that job.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they finally just, within the past couple of years, split it. And so they hired essentially a co-manager.
So they got the alcohol.
They took the alcohol, and Dad took the marijuana side. But, down out of Medford where he's at, there's a lot of grows and a lot of illegal grows.
So,
and,
he calls his daughters for, advice on...
No, he calls his daughters just because he loves us beyond belief. But, yeah, I don't know when he's going to actually fully retire, but I was really grateful when he stopped being a cop.
The worry.
Off the street, yes.
Yeah.
Not having to worry about that anymore. And I know as police chief, he wasn't on, he wasn't a patrol officer or whatever, but he's
still a thought in your head. Yeah.
He's a pretty hands-on guy, though, so.
Very much so. Very much a hands-on guy. And very much, my dad is a great teacher and mentor. And so I know that the younger officers that would come in, really looked up to him, and that he was very invested in making sure that he gave them what they needed to be successful.
The whole John Wayne era,
that's
the role.
My whole life in management, and I've been in management for a long freaking time. I was taught, that's a manager's job is to make sure the people below you have the tools to succeed.
Right.
And part of that is mentoring and training.
Training.
And,
yeah.
If you can't figure out how to do that, then you're not going to be successful as a manager.
Yeah. Any leader.
It's not as easy as people think.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I love Jim. He's a freaking good guy.
My daddy is a good guy. He was laughing at lunch too because everybody knows you at restaurants, and I was telling you that's what it was like when I was a kid.
Yes.
My parents were divorced.
I made that comment.
Dad would come to town, and we'd go anywhere, go out to eat Mom's place. I remember if you remember Mom's place.
I do.
It was downtown.
I do.
All the cops went there. She opened at like 3:00 in the morning or some stupid crazy hour for law enforcement because that was her clientele.
Place. I totally miss that place.
Walked in, and it was like Jim or Big Jim and Jimmy Lynn. He's got all kinds of nicknames around. Yeah. It's my daddy.
Mom's place. I remember that place. That was
I loved
Mom's
it.
place, yeah.
It just sucks so bad there isn't places like that anymore.
Yeah, there's not a lot of old school diners anymore.
No.
That was one of those places that my dad used to love because that was one of those places where you'd get up and grab your own. Grab the coffee pot,
and
then you'd walk around and pour everybody's coffee.
Way back to your table.
I used to drive me nuts when my dad still tries to do that everywhere he goes.
Does he? Yeah. Well, your dad and coffee, they're like synonymous.
It's like a generational thing. Yeah. Now, we go to the bowling alley and that's what splits. And everybody's like, Carlos.
Yeah.
I'm sure they wouldn't say nothing to me if I went behind the bar and poured my own whiskey.
No, they're like, don't mind that guy.
I have been known to teach bartenders how to make an old fashioned.
Wait, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Let me show you something. I'm only going to show you once.
Are they hard to make?
No, it's the easiest drink in the world.
Okay.
I'm telling you, people just try and make their own stuff up.
Okay. Aren't they supposed to have like an orange peel or something?
Follow the goddamn directions.
I've had them. They're delicious.
The best old fashioned is exactly the freaking recipe.
The smoke
for an old fashioned.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's when people go crazy with other shit.
I got my
trying
own.
to make it like fancy.
I got my
own.
And I've had some good old fashions that are deviations.
Yeah.
But the big clue is if you see somebody pull the freaking nozzle to fucking squirt soda water.
You don't do that.
Okay.
That it's going to be garbage.
So what do you put in it besides whiskey? That's it?
It's whiskey. It's sugar.
Sugar. Okay.
Tink.
Bitters, and whiskey. That's it. And a lot of people nowadays use simple
soda.
Syrup. A lot of people use simple syrup instead of sugar, which is fine. That still tastes great.
Okay.
It actually makes it not less gritty. And some people will change what kind of bitters you use. Actually, my ones at home, I'll use a couple of splashes of regular Angostura bitters and a couple of splashes of orange bitters. And then you zest it with an orange, or not zest it, but you squeeze the oils of the orange in there, and then you wipe the rim with the orange and throw the orange peel in there. And then I'll usually throw a cherry in mine also, but you don't have to do that. But that's it. It's a super simple drink to make.
Yeah.
And then 2 ounces of bourbon or rye or whatever you want.
4 ounces.
But I've had people that soda water. I've had people that they'll take
actual water. I've watched people put fucking actual water in it with the ice. And
they'll take like an orange, a piece of orange,
liquid smoke,
and a freaking cherry and muddle it. And then, which if you muddle stuff, you have to strain it.
Yeah.
Right.
But people don't. They'll muddle it and then throw ice on top.
Otherwise, you're going to get the chunky.
And you get this chunky, nasty stuff in there. It's gross.
I don't like chunks.
I like,
Yeah, I've figured out the best way to learn a drink is you go with the most traditional recipe you can find.
Fucking YouTube.
Perfect it. And then you can play with it a little bit from there for your own taste or whatever.
I'm a very boring vodka tonic. I do love vodka tonic with lime.
I like anything tonic.
And beer.
Yeah.
I'm a beer drinker. I've always been that way.
Quinine is my friend.
Quinine.
I don't give a shit. Give me the shittiest gin there is, and you put
some Tito's and tonic with a lime. I'll always have that. So
you like
maybe an
micheladas or freaking red beers? Or
oh yes, I do love a red beer.
I think you guys one time at your house, you got. I don't think it was Moscow Mules. I can't remember what it was, but we were all there,
Sarah was going through a Moscow Mule phase.
Oh, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the Moscow Mules or if it was it wasn't a Copper Cup. So that was the Moscow Mules.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it was something, a mojito or...
mojitos probably. Mojitos are good.
I can't remember, but it was like fucking like apple juice, orange juice. You just fucking drank it forever.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, I'm drunk.
I like
ones that sneak up on you.
Yeah.
I like to try different things, but old fashions are my go-to. And, well, actually, straight whiskey is my go-to. But if I'm trying to not get too drunk, I'll start with freaking old fashions.
Yeah.
You used to only drink like ciders.
Yeah.
Remember when you were in a big cider phase? That was like before you.
We
were
all.
drinking
Well, so I used to only drink really dark beer.
We all drink beer and shit, and Carlos like,
I used to drink.
guys.
I used to drink like
give me
really
some
dark
cider.
beer and stuff.
Cider was your thing.
But then beer started making me get way too bloated.
Whatever.
And I
there is nothing like a cold beer on a hot day.
And then I still do it once in a while.
That is the best.
And then I started drinking ciders because it was still like drinking a beer, but it didn't make me as bloated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you said a hot day. I thought.
And then I decided that I needed to become a Scotch guy.
I heard something else.
I decided that I needed to start drinking Scotch because
that's right. Yep.
It was cool.
It was sophisticated. That made you sophisticated.
And then the fucking cigars.
Yeah. Like Carlos.
Honestly,
what the fuck?
Yeah. I fucking come up with my shit for the stupidest reason.
Dude, it's badass.
Yeah, you do.
I wanted to drink Scotch because I thought it'd be cool.
You know what
and
now?
Then cigars looked cool, so I had to start doing
now I just can't imagine you without a fucking glass in your hand and a cigar.
Yeah.
And just
pretty
fucking
synonymous
relax.
with you relaxing.
Kick back and say, damn kids.
Yeah.
Yep. You mentioned red beers. I also love a good spicy Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing like a good just spicy enough.
And Sarah and Jacob are Bloody Mary fools.
We do love Bloody Marys.
Yeah. And I love Bloody Marys too, honestly.
Do you?
But
if they're done right.
Reason, Bloody Marys are my kryptonite.
Only if they're done right.
I'm on medication for my freaking heartburn.
Well, it's the
prescription
acid
stuff,
and the tomato.
and it works on everything. I mean, you know how I eat. Everything is spicy.
Yeah.
I have freaking peppers in everything.
Yeah.
Bloody Marys go right past my medication like it's not even there.
Really? It's just it's got to be the tomato acid.
It's the tomato acid. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it has the alcohol because I've been to places that, a traditional Bloody Mary, and obviously Sarah loves them. Mm-hmm. Shit. I've taken her to places and she's like, I'm not drinking this motherfucker because it's just ass.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
of course I drink it.
Some people make bad Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard.
Yeah.
To make a bad Bloody Mary. And
oh my God.
Well, Bloody Marys are like the trash can of alcohol.
But also that's goes back to that's one of the simplest fucking drinks to make.
It is.
How do you fuck that up?
How do you mess that up? I don't know. But yeah, some Bloody Marys.
I think we've been to 2 different places that I've ended up having to drink extra. Which I'm not complaining.
Extra alcohol because
Sarah's like,
had to.
Sarah's like, I am not drinking this. I was like, fuck, I paid for it. I'll drink it.
My ex-brother-in-law, Andy, they do. Every year he makes salsa.
Oh my God.
Which he makes white people salsa.
Amazing.
He makes white people salsa.
What the fuck ever.
Andy,
he does do something that most people do not do. He cooks his salsa down and all the juice, he strains it out, and all the juice from that salsa
that goes to margaritas.
He jars it up, and that's margarita.
It's Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary
and it's been to a few girls' camping trips.
Goddamn
and I will
right.
Tell you what, it is
the shit.
It is awesome. It is awesome.
The best I've ever had. I told you.
So anybody that makes salsa. Next time, strain your salsa and jar that shit up because it's gold.
Even if you freeze it, it's
perfect.
Amazing.
It's got that spice to it from all.
You call it white man shit or whatever you said your term for
white
it.
Man salsa.
Because it's not spicy enough for you.
Whatever.
It's like tomato sauce.
Whatever it is with the onions and his
is great.
Oh my God, it's good.
I'm okay with spicy stuff, but I'd like to be able to taste my food. So when you
burn your mouth
so fucking hot. Breakfast burritos, anything. First of all, it's got so many onions in it
it's
that
got
it
amazing
makes my
flavor.
stomach be like,
wait.
Right from the beginning.
All right, listeners, do not listen to her.
No.
She does not know what she's talking about.
I hate an onion unless it's green. I will eat green onions, but like jalapenos and peppers, I love that. I love those.
Jalapenos don't even count as peppers.
But you put the spiciest shit in, and then you can't even taste anything.
Oh, no.
It's pointless.
You just need to develop your taste buds.
You need to go to elk camp.
I'm a weenie. Yeah, I would
You just need to go to elk camp one of these days.
Yeah.
I think Carlos barely makes it home from elk camp most times.
So Mike loves it.
Drunk. I gotta write this shit down so I can remember how to make it again.
Mike thinks it's hilarious because me and Shane and Mike are the core of elk camp.
Yeah, I'm the taster. And
Shane and I show up to elk camp, and usually he brings as many peppers as I do. But I'll bring like a dozen of like 9 different kinds of peppers.
Absolutely no exaggeration.
And then our first night, whatever we're making, I'll just chop all the peppers up and combine them into like a Ziploc.
It's almost like a competition with these two.
We end up with like 2-gallon jug things of freaking nothing but chopped up peppers.
Oh
like
gosh.
On the second day, it's like, what the fuck?
And then
are we making salsa or what are we doing?
We're just taking scoops of pepper and putting it in everything we make.
This is for
eggs,
lasagna,
meat,
eggs.
It doesn't matter. It gets lots of pepper.
Cowboy breakfast.
It was so bad that one year Mike brought his brother-in-law and his brother-in-law's kids.
Fucking
and they
sweet.
set up their own cook stove.
They did.
And made their own food because
they could
were
not handle the fucking hot.
You wouldn't be able to eat. Well, your kids grew up on it. But
my niece, she loves hot stuff.
Yeah.
And she was like, Dad,
too much.
Let's cook.
Yes. Yeah, it's a little too much for me.
No, I love it.
You come home from elk camp and your sinuses are clean.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, they are.
We burned all the
your
bad
liver's
stuff.
Screaming for help.
Only one time I came home that I wasn't.
We burned all the bad stuff out.
Yeah.
It's like a sweat lodge.
I love it.
I've heard there's something to that. I don't know if it's true or not, but I think eating peppers, I think it may be the vitamin C.
It'll cure what ails you.
Fucking don't get your nurse shit going on.
Mega doses of vitamin C.
There's not that much vitamin C in peppers.
There's a lot of vitamin C in peppers.
It's vitamin capsaicin.
Capsaicin.
I'm telling you what, peppers and whiskey.
There you go. It's cure
are
all.
the cure for pretty much everything.
You talk to an 80-year-old grandma, and she'll tell you. Back in my day,
take care of a 99-year-old one
just
time.
give me some whiskey. Shut up.
And she told me her secret was 2 shots of peach schnapps every night before bed. And she had it in her little cupboard above her fridge area.
Totally fucking amazing.
She's like, I have a secret I'm going to tell you. Okay. And she says, this is how you live. And she was never married, which I really think is why she lived to be that old, right?
That's probably why
no
she's
married, no kids.
Drinking peach
single
schnapps.
her whole life. 2 shots of peach schnapps. That was it. I don't know how long she lived.
Yeah.
Long time. She was well over 100.
Yeah.
What's that?
That ain't no bullshit.
There's a reason why guys die before women.
Yes.
Because we want to.
We gotta get the fuck away. I had to save myself.
Read George Burns. George Burns said that he accounted his life to cigars and whiskey every day.
Yeah.
Every day. At least one cigar.
I don't know if I believe the cigar thing because cigars literally make me feel like I'm dying the next day.
It's totally different if it's an alcoholic type of thing. You know, obviously that kills people.
Right. You're talking about like chronic alcoholism. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, your liver can't take that.
No, my grandma, she was 98, I do believe.
Wow.
97, 98, and religiously, it was a shot of whiskey every day. Not to get drunk. That was the medicine.
My grandpa was 90 when he died, and he literally had nothing in his fridge except for Jimmy Dean sausage and Ham's draft beer.
Hams, yeah.
That was all he had. Beer and sausage. Huh. The only other time he ate anything else, I think, is when he came to town or somebody went to visit him and took him something else.
Right.
Would he make like sausage and eggs? Is that what he, or just?
I never saw any eggs in his fridge.
Huh.
My grandma was sausage and eggs.
Yeah. I think sausage and eggs is really common.
Every once in a while, she'd have a pint, not a gallon or half gallon, but a pint of milk every once in a while.
Well, and I think bacon was more expensive. Sausage is cheaper, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it was always sausage and
I don't know.
typically.
His whole, I think for the last 10 or 15 years of his life, he just lived in the woods in his camp trailer.
Oh, really?
That's a fucking
Fire
amazing
watching
dude.
and-
Oh, he did fire
Amazing.
watch? Okay.
That would be a dream.
And that's all he did. And but Sarah and I, when we first, not long after we got together, we started going up and visiting him.
Yeah.
And
checking in on him. Yeah.
That was what we both looked in his fridge and we're like, Jesus Christ, this guy's not eating anything.
Yeah.
And so then we started bringing every time we'd go, we'd bring real food.
Right.
At least a can of chili or
Oh,
something.
no, we'd take like everything to make him a full meal.
Like they were left over.
Because we usually take the kids with us.
I got you.
And because he didn't get to see anybody. So
Right.
we'd take the kids and he thought it was great. He'd take them on little rides on his 4-wheeler.
Hell yeah.
That's
And
cool.
while he's doing that, we would make, I brought, one time I brought
meal prep for him.
potato salad. And,
yeah.
We'd eat and we'd leave him all the leftovers.
Yeah.
And he'd get to visit with the kids. What was funny is he lived in his camp trailer, right? And he literally had like Playboy centerfolds hanging on his
Jesus.
wall. Like taped to the wall.
His
So
decor.
we've got our little kids
I
in
knew
his
a guy.
camp trailer with him.
I knew a guy.
And there's freaking naked ladies hanging on the wall.
Yeah.
But then he got used to us coming and he started like pulling those down.
Oh, jeez.
We have well-rounded children because of their life experiences.
Well, we
so
teach
there's
our-
nothing wrong with that.
We taught our kids
Real life
to
shit.
accept real life.
Absolutely. Yep.
We don't shelter them.
No.
You teach them what life is like.
Yep.
That's what things are.
Yep.
Unless you want your kids to be a bunch of freaking little sheltered pussies.
Pansy asses that go to... Never mind. We're not talking about politics.
We're not talking about politics. In
Fuck
fact, I'm not
no.
allowed to talk about politics.
Me neither.
I work in a gun store. I hate politics, but that's pretty much all I get to talk about.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet it is.
Yeah.
No.
And I don't know what's going on outside today. I don't know if our listeners can hear or not, but that's like the 50th freaking set of sirens that
Yeah,
have
but
gone
it's
by
all
today.
ambulances and fire trucks. There's been
They haven't come back, so somebody's dead.
No law enforcement.
Oh, Jesus.
Though,
They're
which
all going that
is
way.
interesting.
The way I look at it, like my entertainment is the Facebook shit local, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, did you see all this?" It's like, yeah, they're fucking working.
Yeah.
Have you noticed Mike laughs at everything online?
I do.
Even if
I
it's
don't
dead
give a
serious shit,
fuck.
there's a laughing face. It's
Goddamn right.
Right? Like, and it
If he
cracks
makes
me
a
up.
comment, it's totally fucking with that
Yes.
person.
It
Yes.
is. Well,
That's
one
my
lady one
sanity.
day,
That's
like,
my
it must have triggered her.
It
because
does.
She's like, why are you laughing?
Exactly. I get all these messages
I'm
and
almost like peeing my pants laughing because I'm like, he is fucking with you. Because you react. That's why he's
some people comment back, and I just send them a laughing emoji back to their like question. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
That's my.
I have people ask me once in a while, they're like, how come you guys don't ever say happy birthday or whatever? I'm like, if you look at my Facebook history,
Say happy birthday to who?
I-
Like just in general.
why didn't you like my photos? Or
Oh.
why didn't you say happy birthday? Or whatever?
Anything that
Yeah.
pops up.
If you look at my Facebook history on my personal page,
Right.
if I do comment, it is not very warranted. Like, people don't want it.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm either fucking with you, Or-
Straight the fuck up.
Or being a
making
jerk.
fun of you,
Yeah.
or even if I'm wishing you happy birthday,
Yeah.
it's in a sarcastic fucking with you way.
It's like,
So, I mean,
holy
if you're
shit, you made it
asking me
another
to
year.
fuck with you, I will do it.
Yeah.
But
You
just
probably
think
don't
about
want
what
that.
you're asking for.
Yeah.
Prepare
Be
yourself.
careful what you wish for.
So, yeah, I don't get it. So,
People are.
I will tell you guys, I activated my X profile, or which used to be Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Wait, I thought
was
you were
like,
going a
X,
different
what
way.
the hell are you
No.
talking about?
Copy.
It's called X now.
I'm
I
following
know.
you
It's the
now.
worst name ever.
Yeah.
I'm following you now.
Anyways, but I did it for me because I figure that's like going to be my social media that I don't share with everybody.
Sure.
Okay.
So if you want to hear my freaking drunken
Well, by God.
opinions, that's where I'm going to start throwing it out.
Like you're gonna do live.
oh no,
sessions on X?
I'm just gonna randomly throw comments in
Throw
there.
shit out.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
that
so
will
is
be-
your
that
name
will
on
or
there?
will not be very rude or
It doesn't-
disrespectful.
It doesn't have your real last name, right? It has like Big Poppy
No,
or
actually, I
something
think
like
it
that.
says "Spare Time" by Umpire
There-
Survival.
Oh. So you did tag the fucking
So
business
super
in there.
incognito.
So
Yeah, no one will figure that one out.
it's gonna be like not
Jesus.
the store's gonna be like, yeah, we don't associate with that.
We don't know who this person is.
Oh my God, gross.
I love it.
I didn't want to tie it in too much.
No, not too much. You didn't just want to give it away.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Fuck.
Oh shit. So Amanda,
Yes.
what else you got going on? What's
What else do I have going
you
on?
got some big bucket list things in your life or things you're passionate about? What do you got going on?
I have a few, I don't know,
You
bucket
told me you
list.
couldn't wait to be on the podcast because you had
Yeah.
things that you wanted to freaking discuss
I don't know if I ever
if you
said
had a
that.
platform.
I think you did,
Say I will
yes.
take any platform I can get to run my mouth because that's just how I am.
I
I
thought
love
you
to
were going
talk
to tell
and
us. I
bullshit.
thought you were going to feed us full of some.
Was that Sunday night when
Yeah,
I was
yes, it was.
spewing all of this stuff?
Well, that's when
okay.
people tell the truth. So,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No, I appreciated the opportunity to come on. I wanted to talk about my health condition. I feel like it is I feel like it's a learning opportunity for people to understand that not everybody that's sick looks sick. To understand that if you do receive like a catastrophic diagnosis, there is life on the other side of it. I spent a couple of years really miserable, and now I think I'm happier and healthier, frankly,
I can agree
than
with
I
that,
have been
'cause
in
you
a
made my life miserable
long
too.
time. Oh, whatever.
So,
Only because your wife was
You were
gone all the
pretty
time.
fucking whiny there for a while.
So
Yeah.
basically, the old adage is, it is what you make it.
Absolutely, it is what you make it.
Hell yeah.
I could have.
I feel that.
with-
I know.
with that diagnosis, I could
100%.
have curled up, applied for Social Security disability, and never done another damn thing.
Yeah,
and that-
fuck that.
Rubs who I am as a person so wrong that actually one of the first things I was asking at my appointments after transplant
All right.
was, can I go back to work? When can I go back to work?
So-
like, that's all I wanted to do was work.
So my stupid medical history past, nothing like having cancer or anything like that.
I don't know, Mike. You came closer to dying than I ever have.
But it was that exact conversation
Yes.
when they told me, the reality of, hey, you need to choose a different. That was when
Right.
I broke down.
You
It's
need to do something else.
It's like, no, that ain't fucking happening.
Right.
And that made it real.
Absolutely. Knowing that you couldn't do what you always done.
And you're like, fuck you. And
Yeah. And I knew
so
that.
I
knew
know
that too.
exactly what you're saying.
Like, I
And-
knew I couldn't go back to doing what I was doing before.
Right,
I was
right.
doing home visits in houses. I was traveling all across catchment area of 5+ counties.
Yeah.
And, I was going in and out of people's homes. And at that point, my immune system
Yeah,
was
you can't do that.
awful.
You can't.
No, I couldn't do it.
That's just opening yourself up to.
But I did go back to doing that part-time as
Mm-hmm.
well as do some other opportunities that came to me where I was able to work from home. And, I was upfront with everybody that I feel like it's just a learning experience. Like, I would sit in homes of people upset that they didn't take their medications because they didn't want to have to take meds. And maybe their condition was mental health. Maybe it wasn't
Sure.
a physical condition. And here I am, bald.
Yeah.
And they knew me before.
and you're like, what the
right?
fuck are you
They had
talking about?
I'd had a relationship with these people. I'd built a relationship
Yeah.
of trust with these people. And I was able to look at them and say, I don't want to take meds either.
Yeah.
But guess what?
Look at me.
Sometimes
Look what the
we
fuck
have
I'm
to.
doing.
Sometimes we have to do what we have to do to
Yeah.
make it through, to get ahead,
That's
to move on.
Old school, straight up,
So-
man the fuck up and do what you're
Pretty
supposed
much,
to
yeah.
do.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of, it is what it is sometimes.
Right.
And you deal
I
with
totally
that.
respect that 100%.
What other platforms did I want to have, Carlos? Let me think about this for a minute.
You
I
did
don't
the
remember.
Hawaii.
You told me, but I wasn't really listening.
You did the whole Hawaii thing. So and then
I did the Hawaii thing.
Yeah.
As far as a bucket list, that I'd never been to Hawaii.
Right.
That opportunity was given to me
Yeah.
to go on this trip in early 2019. And I wasn't going to pass it up. And it caused a lot of riffles in my life in some ways. And that
whatever.
was not something I was willing to negotiate on. So
No,
I went, I had an amazing time. Now I know what Maui looks like. I want to go back.
I think
Like,
all of you
know,
guys did. Yeah.
Yes. And it was like literally the first time I'd ever been there.
Hadn't-
So
Has Sarah been back twice now, or
Dude, I don't. Sarah's been to Hawaii so many times I can't even
I
count.
think she's
Right.
been twice.
From
and
the
recently.
whole-
Yeah.
yeah?
Past few years. Yeah.
She keeps telling me I need to go.
No, you don't need to go.
I was hoping
Let's
that
go
when
to
that fire
Alaska.
Not much
happened,
of a Hawaii.
when the fire happened
Yeah.
over there, I was
Yeah.
like, see, there's no reason to go there. It's
We
all
can't
done.
go there now.
Oh,
let's
that's
go to
terrible.
Let's go to Alaska.
That was
Fuck
one
that.
of the towns, Lahaina, one
I
of the
know.
little towns we
It
checked out.
was.
So amazing and cool. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so glad I know what that looked like before this
Yeah.
happened.
That tree's there. And you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Alaska, I want to go to Alaska. That's
I
on my
do-
bucket list. It
goddamn
was
right.
actually something that was on my mom's bucket list
And
that she
they-
never got to do.
These
I pretty much
fuckers-
like going only
Yes,
places.
they're
that-
going again.
Fuckers.
I know.
I pretty
Yeah.
much only like going places where the sun isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I will always go towards the sun. That is my motto in life. But Alaska is somewhere
I have
wanna go.
told Sarah though there are places I want to go that are like that.
No.
I really, really, really want to check out
I've been
South
to,
America. I want to go to
I've been to
like
Arizona. Fuck that.
the Mayan temples and that stuff. I
Yeah,
really
that
want
would
to
be
check that
super
out.
cool.
I think it'd be cool to go on the
Nope.
Amazon
Nope.
and
Mhm.
that kind of thing.
I have a goal of getting my passport. I never have gotten a passport, and I need one. So I need to do that here soon.
Yeah, I'd take a
Most
boat.
of the places I want to travel in life, though,
You
are
don't need it.
are generally to kill things that are there.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason.
But I'll
you wanna
do some
go.
sightseeing.
It all
while I'm not
circles
killing.
right back there. Yeah, we're going to Alaska.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
You guys are fuckers, by the way.
Yeah, Alaska.
Yeah.
I just learned a lot about Alaska. It's in the catchment area of the program that I work for. So we cover all of the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, wow.
Boise, there's
Wow.
8 VAs that fall under our VISN office, and we're in VISN 20. And so that's the team that I work for. So Anchorage, which is all of
That's
Alaska. There is Anchorage, which
Yeah.
Alaska is huge.
Yeah.
Like, huge.
That's just a corner.
So there's
just a
one main
piece.
VA. Of course, there's clinics,
There's a-
places.
There's-
Well,
Boise.
honestly, that's the only place with a big enough city to.
There isn't one on Fairbanks?
I don't know if they have a clinic there. They definitely don't
Because
have
that's
a
where the
medical
fucking
center.
all the military bases are.
That's different.
I know.
So military
For-
bases
for
have
the
their
VA.
own health care. Military
Right,
has their own
Yeah,
DOD.
that's different
ran
from
by the
VA.
DOD.
No, I know. But
Yeah.
it's just weird that.
Right. No, there's Anchorage is
Yeah.
the main.
Yeah.
Dude, Anchorage reminds me so much of Medford. It's not even funny.
Yeah,
Really?
Fuck Anchorage.
It's about the same size,
Wow.
and it's spread out
Just
like that.
flat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's flat and it's spread out. Where like you want to go to this store, it's clear the fuck on the other
Over
side of
there.
town. You drive
There you
way
go.
over there, and
Okay.
you drive way back over here for
Yeah.
this. It's
Right.
just spread out.
It actually, yeah. Medford
It's
is
very much like
good
Medford.
because you got the hill, the mountains and shit surrounding it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the town is just based out
Yeah,
flat.
but the people up there are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I fell in love with Alaska, and someday
Me too.
I may retire there.
You guys, I really thought you were going to go there probably 5-10 years ago.
So-
now.
Oh yeah, when I was about to leave Lowe's,
Yep.
that was my plan.
Yep.
I was really looking at those stores to take
I
one of those
thought that
stores.
might happen, and
So,
my heart was
the whole
shattered.
thing why I say these fuckers
Yeah.
is because they went on the trip up. They went up there and then, oh, you have to do this. You have to do it. Next time we go, we're going up there and
Mhm.
all that. Yeah.
They're going again.
Hey, we're going,
Yeah,
but
we'll show them. Like you and I are
we're
just
gonna-
going to go
we're
to
gonna-
Alaska, and then we'll message
we're gonna
them
take
once
the
we're
in-laws up there.
Yeah.
So next year, I think next year I'm going to
Fuckers.
try and do a vacation next year, but we're not going to go to Alaska. I want to do.
I agree. I want to go too. That's where I want to go.
I want to do like Montana and Glacier National Park.
Mhm. I would
I've
love to
done
do
it.
that too.
I've done it.
I want to
I've
do
not
that,
done that
and I think
either.
we'll probably just take the RV and
Dakotas. You got to stay up
Cruise.
in the Dakotas.
That means there's room for me.
possibly, yeah.
I might follow you in the truck.
Yeah.
Well, we probably.
Oh, we could bring the car.
it would
It'll
be
just
cool to
our
have
comfort
one,
vehicle.
like two vehicles, like a regular vehicle and the RV, and then we can
And then
set
when-
up camp
when-
one
Heck
place
yeah,
for a
road
night or
trip.
two.
Yeah,
And,
and
I
then-
love it.
And then
I
when,
love road
when
trips.
when Sarah's just too much, I'll say, "See you later, Carlos. Take care of
yeah, I'm out.
it." No, it would be awesome. I love it.
But yeah, I think that'll be our next trip.
Okay.
Well, our next vacation trip,
right.
Yeah.
because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to skip SHOT Show this next year, so I'll be there.
Okay.
Fuckers.
You didn't go this year, right?
Yeah, it's the first one I've missed
That's right.
in a while. So
Yeah. Another piece of fucker.
if you can convince Sarah not to go, maybe I'll take you.
I can have a doctor's appointment that whole fucking
That whole week,
2 weeks
you're like, I'm in therapy this
Yeah.
week.
therapy.
Yeah. It is kind of therapy.
Yes, it is.
Some ways.
That's funny.
Therapy looks different for different people.
No,
So you don't even know what you wanted to use your platform to talk about, do you?
No, I mean you asked me
You
if
said
I'd come on here.
Honestly, I think you were talking about something to do with having kids or
what
daughters or
what.
Something like
probably
that.
about like women's strength and power and independence, because that's something I felt pretty strongly about. I mentioned women's ability to protect themselves, even if it's someone that lives in their home. I feel very strongly about advocating for any kind of domestic violence that does not have to be, that doesn't have to be hitting people. It's not always what constitutes violence in the home. But I'm a big proponent for women being able to be safe and to feel safe in their own homes, and kids being able to be and feel safe in their own homes.
Yeah.
And creating an environment. I think the more we create an environment for children where they are safe and cared for, our future's better.
Yeah.
Just right off the bat.
100% with you.
I'm a strong advocate of mental health and mental health care.
That's rough.
So it's a huge area of our country where there's giant craters.
Lacking.
They're not even pools or deficits. It is
a crater.
It's awful.
Perfect.
Well,
perfect
you work for the VA, so you deal primarily with veterans.
Oh, I mean, I primarily deal with veterans and their families. Yes,
the family issue,
and we're huge on taking care of veterans.
1,000%. Mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of time doing charities for veterans and trying to raise money for that.
Yes.
This next month we're doing a big thing with Ride for 22. Basically, everything we do for the whole month is for them.
And you've done that for the past several years.
Oh, since I've been here, we've been doing that.
I love that.
5+, yeah.
Well, and honestly, I mean, it started off because I went to the founder I've known forever, and he actually used to, when I ran the arcade at the mall, he was one of my kids that came in there all the time, and became one of my friends, and I was happy to see that he was doing something good with his life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to the point where I could help out with that, when I came to this business, I was like, I want to help these places out.
Almost a privilege, you know?
Yeah, well, I want to help them out. I mean, I have the ability to help these organizations out, and so that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And, I came from a military family. My grandpa, my dad, everybody. Yeah. And, I was in the Army for a minute, and I don't consider myself a veteran, but I was there for a minute.
Right. It's just a whole...
And I want to help those people out. And I know that I deal with a lot of veterans that I see their struggles, and I see them have problems. And so the fact that that's who you deal with mostly, I think that's cool. I think it's cool.
Fucking very admirable.
Yeah, in the family, like their family unit, it's not just the person who has, served. It
Definitely.
is their entire family. It's their children. And you can talk to veterans and they'll tell you they're not worried about themselves. They're worried about their wives. They're worried about their kids.
100%.
That's their focus. And so I've been very blessed to be able to work in a program where we focus on the family unit. So of course, it's veterans because it's a VA program, but it's really about caring for the family, supporting people who are supporting our veterans.
Well, that's why most veteran benefits or veteran like USCCA insurance and that kind of stuff.
Right.
All you have to do is show that you have a veteran in your family.
Yeah. To be able to
get that. Be part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the good side.
That's the way it should be.
I like it.
Absolutely.
Because the whole family is sacrificing for what they're doing,
Mm-hmm. And, maybe they don't have that family when they enlist or when they are deployed.
But it's final.
After they come home, this is the life that they've created for themselves.
100%.
And they are, dealing with the scars, quite literal scars sometimes, or emotional, mental scars that
either way,
that impacts the family. And so, yes, it is important for us. And, the VA is very groundbreaking in that way as far as caring for the unit. The DOD's always kind of done it. the Department of Defense, if you don't know what DOD is.
Yeah.
You know, they've always kind of focused on the families, and the VA has really done that, I think, more and more. But when I first started in 2011, no, I started with the VA in 2013. My program was solely for post 9/11 veterans. So I went from Geriatrics at the assisted living I was at to veterans who were young. They many times younger than me. Sure. I mean, most times younger than me.
So you're talking generational. You're talking about your generation.
Son's age.
Yeah.
Right? Like I went from caring for elderly people to caring for people largely 35 and under. Man. And there was components of that I did not consider.
Yeah.
And it was a huge learning curve for me, to adjust and to be able to provide the appropriate care that they needed. But also I was walking in their homes, and I feel like that's a different level of everything, right? Like it's their space. Anybody feels like that in your home. That's your space. That's your sanctuary. That's your area where it's yours, right? Like you invite people in, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I got the best job ever through the VA as far as I'm concerned. I'm still with the same program, even though I've switched what my role is. Yeah. And I very much feel like the VA provides excellent care to our veterans. And I think that there's amazing people that work for the VA. And I hear stories, and I'm sure that they're out there, and there's a lot of horror stories. That is across healthcare. You will not find any healthcare entity that does not have horror stories.
That's the dark side of it.
Yeah. And, the best thing you can do is advocate for yourself. If you are a good advocate, your chances of getting the care that you need go up exponentially. So don't wait for anyone to call you. People say, I'm waiting for the VA, any doctor. I'm waiting for the doctor's office. Don't do that. Don't wait for them.
Well, and there's lots of, nowadays anyways, there's lots of advocates for those veterans.
Sure.
So, I mean, even the people that don't know how to talk to people or don't know who to call, there's people that will help you through that whole step.
There are 1,000%
they'll make the calls for you. They'll freaking sit there at your house and walk you through all of it and help you get your benefits and help you get your appointments and that stuff.
Totally amazing and inspirational what you do. For me, with my dad,
yes,
I am totally anti-fucking government.
Yeah, I know.
Because of the whole VA bullshit. But to know somebody that is there to help is pretty fucking inspiring.
There's lots of me's around, believe that or not.
Well, and there was, we talk a lot, Mike and I talk a lot on this podcast about how generations are different.
Yep.
And we're usually bad-mouthing the younger generation because their values are different or whatever. But one good thing about this generation is they advocate for things. And they have people that do that. Because
help.
That's part of our generation was, like my dad helped create programs in the military for people that had drug and alcohol.
They're having problems.
Yeah, your dad's amazing.
And before that time, before he started helping do that,
there was nothing.
If you had those kind of problems, they threw you in jail or kicked you out.
That was your problem.
And period. And that's, and yes, the military has always helped the families of the military, but only if you were a good enough family to stay in the military.
Exactly.
If you were one of those people that drank too much and got a DUI and got kicked out or whatever, then your whole family was out.
I don't want to get anybody wrong and everything. I am very patriotic and all this shit about my country, but for me, it's a struggle. Personally, the whole fact is that people dedicate their life and sacrifice so fucking much, and then they're just kind of pushed aside. That just burns my ass.
Yeah. So your dad's generation is my dad's generation, Vietnam veteran generation, right?
100%.
And the way that we treated our Vietnam veterans is
horrible.
Night and day to the way that we treat our veterans.
That's why I say it's a total inspiration to hear you talk, to hear what you do. Yeah. It's just...
and that's one of the good things about this younger generation.
Yes.
Because they're the ones who brought that on.
Keep it going.
Right. But it is something that is a newer concept. What I was going to say, Mike, is that, when I started in 2013, that was our population. we expanded. And so in 2020, we started with the oldest veterans.
Sure.
So it was the World War
You
II.
have to.
And then now it's everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something when I first started with this program that I was like, wait a minute. Why are these people not old?
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't we be, you'd think if they need a caregiver, they need somebody to help them in their home, that they would be
Vietnam vets weren't considered veterans.
No.
It was bad. And a lot of them didn't register with the VA.
And
they don't want the VA knowing
it was the mindset, yes. It's like, fuck
used
you
to
guys.
only take care of people who were in a quote-unquote war.
Yeah.
Right.
And since Vietnam was not a war.
I've learned so much. And, I was raised by military people, so I guess I don't know. I just
unfortunately
it was foreign to me.
Unfortunately,
that we would treat people that way.
Yeah,
that it was ever that way.
You know what's really inspirational is that whole era of people, those veterans, quote unquote, who technically weren't veterans because they weren't in a war.
It was a fucking police action.
They still would defend what they did
100
to their
fucking percent.
grave.
Yeah, absolutely.
They would do it a million times over, no matter how badly they were being treated.
Yeah,
and they just kept it up, and that
was their duty.
And that whole mindset is amazing.
Yeah,
it isn't.
Oh, tough.
It isn't
tough,
there
tough
anymore.
Generations. The generations ahead of us were very tough. I feel like our generation is also pretty tough. You see a lot of the memes about, we're the latchkey kids, right? We were the kids that basically were turned out on your own and be home by midnight or someone's going to ask where you're at.
Watch that street light.
I grew up the epitome of that.
Watch the street light.
No one's there when you get home from school. You're walking most places you go, all of that type of a stuff. We definitely weren't cared for and coddled.
Definitely put a parent in jail now for
as long as we were home by the time the lights came on.
Potentially, you got to know where your kids are.
Nobody cared where you were at.
Yeah, exactly.
But but honestly, I will say, in the defense of the younger generation, is that they do look at how people are treated and try and accommodate for that.
Almost a compassion thing.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I feel strongly about. You guys know, I am very anti labeling people. Just
of course.
Can we just not love each other and not point out what's different about ourselves?
You yell at me and Mike for the way
100%.
Right. I mean, I think our younger generation has more of that open-minded,
if it wasn't for comedy
approach to life.
And, with the whole jabbing and making fun of people, then, that's the way it should be.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't be around you guys if I thought you were really dicks. Well, I mean, I do think you're dicks, by the way, but you know what I mean? Like,
fooled you.
You guys are good guys, and I know that. But I don't.
We are
pretty
sneaky.
I feel like the younger generation
100%, yes.
very much accept people for who they are and who they. And it doesn't matter if you're not hurting me. I don't give a shit what you do with your life. It doesn't affect me.
Exactly.
Now I have strong feelings about other things that I won't get into, but ultimately, I feel like what you look like doesn't matter.
Nope.
Where you were born doesn't fucking matter.
Who
you love doesn't fucking matter. Like, that's just how, and I've always been that way.
Like, shut the fuck up. Don't put it in my face.
I don't know why.
Honestly, I feel the same way, but I also add to that, just fucking keep it to yourself.
Exactly. Don't put it in your fucking face.
I mean, you live your life for you. You don't need to be trying to fucking advertise everything you do in your life.
That's right. But is it advertising if you're gay and you're walking down the road holding hands with your husband or your partner?
No.
That's not advertising anything.
That ain't no one else's motherfucking business but them.
And I 1,000% agree with you.
100%.
But you'll find people that just because they know someone's gay decides to target them in some way, shape, or form.
No, that stuff's bullshit.
That's totally
But I'm
on that
talking
person.
about like, oh, well, you have to make sure every single show, every single movie.
No, that's ridiculous. I agree with you.
Every single thing has to be represented in
that. The diversity is,
And that's bullshit.
Or hiring practices. I'm dealing. Why?
You should be able to hire who you want to hire.
What the fuck does that fucking matter?
Well, and it's because, traditionally you have marginalized populations. It's just the way that it is.
If you can do the fucking job,
but there
you're
are
hired.
ways to,
Period.
if everyone had the mindset of people are people and we accept people for who they are, it wouldn't necessarily be necessary. Maybe.
I know.
I'll tell you what. So when I was at Lowe's. When it came to hiring people, I used to fucking hate it, and I was one of the main people that had to hire people.
And firing people sucks.
And firing people was really horrible, but hiring people sucks.
I've met people who love firing people.
I love hiring.
I
their
love
favorite thing.
I love firing people, but at Lowe's
I struggle with hiring people
because
hiring is
you
bad.
couldn't fire anybody without documenting them for 6 months.
Fuck that. We're in Oregon.
That's most jobs.
So I love the fact that I have a small business.
At Will State.
If I hire you and you annoy me tomorrow, I'm going to fire you.
Yeah.
Because you were annoying. And you know what?
I'm not going to write down.
You're not going to get unemployment because I'm going to tell them you were a piece of shit. And that's it. And that's my right in Oregon because I don't have to have a reason to fire you.
None.
I can fire you because I thought you were a piece of shit.
Go away.
But anyways, when I was at Lowe's, for a while, I don't know what they do now, but for a while, they came up with this thing where it was a point system.
Okay.
And we had to interview people, and there was a set bunch of questions, and every question you had to rate 1 to 10, and based off the score was whether they got hired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking nuts.
And it was the stupidest thing ever. And we were not allowed to do any other stuff.
Right.
No more questions.
So that's supposed to make it an even keel, right? Everyone has the same opportunity.
And we were definitely not allowed to check social media or any of that stuff.
Oh, yeah. You're not supposed to.
I don't know. It's
so now
common sense.
And there's things you still can't do for risk of being sued or whatever. Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And luckily I know that stuff from my years with Lowe's.
Right. You got the background and
so now being a small business owner, I'll tell you what, if you are gonna apply here, I'm gonna fucking cyber stalk the shit 100%. Out of you.
Would you ever hire someone you'd never seen?
Well, I have.
You have hired someone you've never seen?
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I've had no choice.
No.
Because I'm a huge.
Feel the same way.
So honestly, for me,
I feel like how you present yourself and how you look, it tells me a lot about who you are.
I need to
call it old school or whatever. It's the first impression right off the bat.
I totally go off of
right or wrong.
Absolutely.
First impression, that makes or breaks you. First impression.
And honestly, first impression has been a bad thing for me because
of course
I have a hard time letting that go.
Right.
Yeah.
So my first impression of you is who you are for the rest of your life.
Show me you're someone different.
Then you get into that situation where it changes your first impression. It's like, wow, you know, I was wrong.
My first job.
It's hard to get there.
Yeah.
The
first job I had that I was hired at where I was never seen was the VA.
Yeah.
I went through 2 phone
crazy.
Interviews. 2 multi-person phone interviews where there's like 5 people on the other end of the phone.
Like,
group interviews, and did 2 of them, and then I got hired. And they didn't know who I was till I showed up on. Well, they knew who I was, but what I looked like or anything else till I showed up on campus for orientation day 1.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself,
that's rough as fuck.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it puts everyone on even keel. Same page type of a thing. Yeah. But hiring somebody who I've never seen. I don't know how I feel about
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't love that.
So basically what I was getting at is I started checking people out on social media and stuff. And so this is a gun store, obviously. Yeah. You know, I mean,
definitely you have to have.
We're more than a gun store, but first thing we're a gun store.
Guns and more, yeah.
So I'm looking at people that have applied for jobs here, and I'm looking at their social media. There was a dude that applied here.
Why in the fuck are you applying here?
And I don't remember the guy's name, and I wouldn't tell you even if I did.
No,
you tell me.
But I'm looking at his social media.
100%. Yeah,
he's got a side gig.
Okay.
He makes sex furniture.
Wait,
what?
He makes
that furniture.
Is he from?
This is like.
Is he from
crosses and shit that you strap yourself to?
Is he from South County? Oh wait,
he makes sex furniture and sells it on the internet, which is fine. Whatever you can make money on, great.
why would you
he's
want
a he's
I
a
didn't know
very.
sex furniture
It
existed.
looks based off his social media. He's a very flamboyant
But why would
gay
you?
person,
Okay.
That's
which is fine. I'm not
beside
opposed
the
to gay
fucking
people.
point.
I've got a couple gay friends that are freaking hilarious.
Okay.
Why would you promote
But-
that? In
It might be a little uncomfortable in a gun store, but I would still not hold that against them.
Right.
There is literally a video
no,
of this dude
red flag
and someone else burning an American flag on his
Oh.
Facebook.
and you want to come
My-
work
no.
in a patriotic.
No.
You're not
setting.
going to
No.
fit in a fucking gun store.
Yeah,
No.
it'd be the same. Yeah,
And I'm-
fuck that.
And if I was at Lowe's,
You
I would have
hire
never
that
known
motherfucker.
that.
You wouldn't have
I
been
would have
able
had to hire that guy
investigate,
based
yeah.
off of how he performed in his interview.
because it's illegal to the state of Oregon to actually look at fucking.
Is it illegal? I didn't know that.
on
I don't hire and fire people. I'll just anymore.
Yeah.
My old job I did.
I
Now I don't
think
have
that's
to worry about
illegal.
Not for. It depends on how many employees you have, what type of business you have, what you're
that.
classified
I
as.
think anything you put out in a public forum can
is
be.
free fucking
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, I think it should be.
All I know is
We-
when I hire people, I try and bring as many people in for interviews as I can.
Yeah, you are really good about that.
And-
like you
and
want the selection,
it's
if nothing
pretty-
else. You
pretty-
want to be
Well,
able to have
for
choices
me, it's
and
more
options.
about the first impression.
Yes.
Pretty sketchy.
And then typically I'll end up, whoever I'm going to hire, I will have them come in for a second like working interview
Mhm.
where basically they just hang out with my employees for an hour
Yeah.
Right.
to make sure that everybody's going to get along. Because
So
I only got 5 employees. I mean,
Yeah,
if
you
they
have
don't get
to
along,
mesh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, in your past, you feel that, and there's a question about if you've been convicted of felonies and stuff like that.
hmm
We're not even supposed to fucking ask that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, well, I have to ask that
Because
if
You
Only-
can't work here, right?
if you're a felon,
Well,
it's hard
firearm.
to
most
work in a
things-
firearm store if you're not.
Only if it deals
around.
with cash transactions
Uh-huh.
or children.
Oh, okay.
if
We're not supposed to.
if
fucking
you're a
ask.
violent, if you're a felon for anything that relates to
on the gun laws, yes.
stuff that makes it so that you can't be in a gun store,
Around
then you probably can't
firearms.
work here.
Right.
So it sucks.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
been in the
surprised by
situation
that.
where we have hired somebody. They fit all the boxes. Yeah, cool.
Mhm.
You're gonna go. They're fucking sex offenders.
Yeah.
I 100% am. People change. People learn. You got that brand on you.
hmm
Society does not like that.
Right.
So then you're stuck in the thing to where you almost have to protect that person from other people because of that brand that's on them.
Right.
It makes a fucked up situation.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
I got a friend.
And-
I didn't know you can't.
No, you're not
I
supposed
mean,
to.
how many applications have I filled out where I checked that?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's something
You
that's
fucking
asked.
check that you were a sexual offender.
Yes.
I-
no,
You
like,
predator.
like bank loans
Okay,
and shit like
so
that.
no, I wouldn't be able to be an RN if I had anything on my history.
Fucking Amazons,
But
dude. If you see an Amazon woman,
Uh-huh.
look out. She's a rapo.
It's them bracelets. Yeah.
She's
But I
gonna
feel
lock
like,
you
like,
down.
If you ever been convicted of a felony, is a common question. Carlos is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's a question I've answered on other people.
It's
I
like
don't
a
know.
question mark. Convicted or accused?
Hmm. I don't know.
No,
I've got
it's
I've got
totally
a close
fucked.
friend
Totally fucked.
who is technically a sex offender, but I've known him forever,
Yeah.
and I will tell you,
And
he got freaking convicted
that
of a sex offender crime from a person he met at the dunes,
Yeah.
no, that's
and
the
and that girl
Mhm.
got busted or freaking got caught having some dude run away from her house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She fucking barked out the first name of somebody that she
Exactly.
knew.
I'm assuming she was underage.
She was underage,
Yeah.
and then you,
and
you
and
know,
he got busted for
Yep.
statutory rape
yeah.
of a girl he didn't even know. Like he
Wow.
literally had no memory of meeting this person,
Yeah.
and
But his name and
He
then
ended
how,
up going
how do
to-
you
he
fight
ended up
that
going
in
to
court?
prison
How do
for-
you, yeah,
like fucking 18 months or something.
copy.
Right.
And has had to register as a sex offender ever since.
Yeah.
And he literally, this is a guy that would probably tear up if he had to fucking kick his dog.
Yeah, I feel like the sex offender, the registry and being required to register, it's a good thing in many situations.
50-50.
Absolutely.
But the fact that
100%.
there's a label, and I know there's different degrees, like there is different degrees of sex offender, 1, 2, 3, whatever.
The age
but
difference.
Nobody hears that or cares about that.
No,
they care about
don't.
the word sex offender. We all do. We have a reaction to that, right? Like
That's
we have a
society.
visceral reaction to that. Yes.
Definitely.
But you can get that if you're a 20-year-old kid who has a 17-year-old girlfriend, so
2-year difference is up to the parents.
Maybe her parents. Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, it's a thing where you hear the word sex offender and you're like, and most of the time, yes, you should be like
so
that.
I was
always
with the dad of daughters. I was fucking scared of that shit, And I just always made it clear that, hey, I know people with backhoes.
I just told dudes.
I know people.
I
with
just
guns.
told dudes, whatever you do to my daughter,
you'll fucking
I'm gonna
disappear.
do to you.
You'll disappear. Period.
Yeah.
Huh?
If you're good with that,
Yeah.
all right.
We're gonna be fine.
I'll be your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go shooting, motherfucker.
Ugh.
Yeah, but
No, it's crazy. Society sucks. Fucking people suck.
except for me, I'm pretty cool.
I think I'm cool too. I mean, shit.
I don't consider you society. So
I know I'm pretty bad. If society was me,
no shit.
we'd be fucked.
He's not high society, but he is society.
We would be fucking.
Definitely not high society.
Let's do a break. That's pretty light.
Yeah.
All right. So you're back.
I'm back.
So, So most of my employees are veterans.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually, like, my one employee, he's got PTSD pretty bad. He's actually dealt with the VA quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's dealt with a liaison who helped him get his benefits figured out better. And
a VSO, veteran service officer.
And one of my other guys, he's also disabled veteran. And which, by the way, if you own a small business, disabled veterans are the best.
I bet.
As long as you can find some that actually want to work, because a lot of them don't want to work. They just want a job
to work.
They just want to get paid. But if you can find them that want to work, they're great because they don't give a shit about insurance because they're getting taken care of by the VA.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about how much money they make because they don't need a job because they already make disability and shit.
Yeah, it's just time.
So it's great. They're just working because they don't want to sit around at home all day.
Yeah.
Copy.
And when you own a gun store, which hopefully none of my competition is trying to take advice from me.
You have competition? What?
Anyways,
where are we at?
When you own a gun store,
I was laughing more about taking advice from him, but
they're already doing what they love. So you have employees that love what they do. They come to work.
Yep.
They don't have to be here. They're here because they want to be here.
Right.
So when a customer comes in, they're basically just talking to a dude who's having a fucking great day.
Right.
Exactly. Doing exactly what he fucking loves.
You want people who are reliable, dependable, punctual, honest. Like, those are pretty much core things with those who have served in our military. Yeah. You don't get to sleep in past your alarm clock when you're in the service.
No.
You don't get to not show up when you don't feel good or call in because you stubbed your toe or have a hangnail. Like, you are literally, if I am upright and I can function, I am doing what job I'm here to do. So,
and the awesome thing is
amazing.
A couple years ago, I started an incentive program, which basically is it's more focused on social media.
Okay.
Like basically it's all
is that what this is up here?
Yeah, it's basically all the stuff I'm trying to add to the business.
Okay.
On my own.
On top of
way too much stuff for one person to handle.
Yeah.
And so I made it into an incentive program where if my guys help me out with this stuff, taking pictures and taking videos and going out to do stuff and trying out new products, they earn points, and those points basically earn them money to spend in the store.
Sure. Yeah.
These guys love that.
Of course. Yeah. Why wouldn't
they get the maximum amount of points you can get
damn right
every month. And it helps me make sure that I have a social media platform. It helps me take care of the stuff that takes me way too much time on my own.
And if your employees are invested in what you do, that makes a huge difference.
It goes back to keeping your fucking employees happy.
You don't have people who are here just to be here for however many hours and fill a need. You know, they are invested in what they're doing.
That's the huge struggle that I deal with is people I'm here for a paycheck.
Yeah.
I could give a fuck about anything.
You need to come up with something like I came up with.
Well, and I think
either work or get fucking fired. That's what I come up saying,
with. You'll never, if you're doing what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
But there's something to that. So that's what I've tried to tell my kids.
Definitely.
Find something you don't mind doing every
100%.
Like, I don't mind doing
that.
this every day. Nobody wants to spend 40, 50 years of their working career miserable. Like, I can't imagine how awful that is, and I don't know why anyone would live like that.
You need to print that out for me, and I'll put it on the fucking wall. And like,
if you're miserable, like everything's bad. Morale's bad. Your attitude's bad.
Yes.
Your relationship with everyone else is bad. Like, and can you imagine that existence? And I guess that's what. I don't know that because I've always loved what I do.
I can't imagine it. I see it every fucking day.
Like,
I was raised that way.
It's terrible.
Yeah. I was raised that way. I mean, I was raised that
it's absolutely terrible to watch a person do that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I was raised though where you freaking work.
You work, yeah.
A job is a job. You're not supposed to like it. You go to work and you work.
And
that's the way I was raised.
Yeah.
You go to work, you work. You do your job, you shut the fuck up, and you go home.
Yes.
What's that?
And I was like that until I don't know 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
You're fucking old. That's why.
I think when you're younger, like that's how I was raised too. Like you will get a job, you will work, and it wasn't like I loved working at Scotty's Deli or freaking that used to be Texaco right there. Yeah. That was one of my first jobs.
But it's the whole meme that is going around quite a bit right now is, employees don't quit, because they just want to quit. It's management.
They quit the management.
And it's always, what's acceptable by management. If you're going to let somebody in that environment that is just totally fucking negative all the time.
Yeah.
And
it's going to bring everybody down.
Yeah.
Well, and I try and make sure my employees... Besides the fact that, I started the employee in the incentive program.
That was cool.
This fucker's doing good.
Yeah, he's doing amazing.
The incentive program, they like it. But I try and buy him lunch like once a week or something.
He's following that TikTok fucking rule. He's doing good.
They know Fridays that I'm basically not any help at all.
Right.
I'm doing the podcast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I take my people out to lunch at like noon. And basically from like noon on, either I'm gone to lunch, recording the podcast, or too drunk to fucking help customers.
Figure it the fuck out.
So they got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
they take care of you.
Well, they think it's hilarious. And there's been a couple times when my employees have called my wife and said, you need to find somebody to drive them home.
Yeah,
well, that's taking care of you.
Yeah.
That is taking
straight
care
the
of
fuck up.
And that's a good thing because I would probably just leave anyway.
They're not going to let you do that.
But
I've never heard, fuck you, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm doing this.
Never.
I never say that.
Never.
Anyways.
Okay.
But, so, absolutely,
I love it.
You have to take care of your employees.
Yes.
I'm blessed to have awesome employees.
It seems like
it. And I think that part of that is the fact that I include them in who I hire.
Absolutely. That will make a big difference, I'm sure.
You have to. I mean, it's...
In a place like this,
total
Carlos, it's so
team
small,
effort,
and it's
100%.
One or two other people, and you would be setting yourself up for nothing but nonstop turnover if you did not allow your
obviously with the Lowe's background and shit like that. You've seen the negative sides of that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
it only takes one motherfucker to sit there and create the cancer for.
Dude, I don't know if I ever told you this story. I had this guy work for me. I don't remember his name. I will tell you, though, that was when Sarah still worked for me. And she thought he was awesome. She thought he was great.
He was the best guy ever.
So this fucking guy, I could not stand him. He didn't do anything I told him. What the hell, dude?
Mike,
Mike, you know we were supposed to silence our phones.
I forgot. Fuck.
Anyways, so this freaking guy did whatever the hell he wanted.
Okay. This was here?
No, this was when I was at Lowe's.
Okay.
Sarah never worked for me here. I mean, she kind of works for me, but I don't pay her, so she doesn't really care.
Okay, well, I was just... Thanks for clarifying.
Anyways, so no, this was at Lowe's. He worked for me. He was the worst employee ever. He did not do any... Like, I would explain stuff to him. He would totally disregard everything I told him. I kept getting complaints from customers that he would cuss in front of them. So I was going through the process of
firing. I never worked for you.
I was going through the process of firing this guy. And at Lowe's, it takes forever to fire somebody.
Yeah.
You have to document them like 50 times.
Right.
So I'm documenting this guy forever, right? Right when I finally get to the point where I can actually fire him, this motherfucker goes to the doctor and gets a doctor note saying that he has Tourette syndrome.
Protecting his ass.
He has Tourette syndrome. So all of a sudden I can't fire him for cussing in front of customers.
Because he has no control over
I have no control over the fact that I can't do my fucking job. And every time I help somebody and they're not happy with it and they tell me about it, I tell them to fuck off.
I wonder if I can use that.
So
you could try. Try.
I freaking threw a giant fit. I went to the store manager. I was like, this guy's not working for me. I'm like, it's him or me. I just spent 6 months documenting this guy to get rid of him, and now you're telling me I can't get rid of him? No. So they transferred him to another department.
Okay.
Because
in the store.
Because that's what you do. You just, when there's a problem, you send it to someone else in case maybe they can figure it out.
I think that is a common employment practice.
It was horrible.
And in all different industries.
He ended up having the same issue there.
Yeah, of course he did.
Only he was working for a manager.
I mean, Tourette's doesn't go away.
He did not have Tourette's.
I know that. I'm just saying it doesn't go away. Transferring him to a different manager makes no difference.
He went to fucking urgent care, and urgent care was like, well, what do you need to keep your job? Maybe you should tell me I have Tourette's. Okay, here you go. Here's the fucking doctor's notes. Friggin'. So if you're a piece of shit and you want to keep your job, go to urgent care.
No.
And if you want
that's not how it works.
If you don't want that to happen and you're the fucking actual employer, maybe you should learn how to like kill people on the down low. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
But
that always is a plus.
Oh my God.
Or just freaking leave your job and become a small business owner where you don't have to explain yourself. You can fire people because they got on your nerves. Because I've fired 2 people simply because they were annoying.
Or get to a point
Nothing
where
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
Your only coworker is a Mastiff and a Grandcat.
Yeah.
Like that is who I have to worry about seeing every day when I go to work. I do have to turn my camera on and interact with my team, but that's limited pieces. And,
you got cameras here. You could do this shit from home.
So.
Oh. Mike, we just had this conversation.
I know, and I thought
damn it.
I thought I took care of that.
You are old. You don't know how to operate a cell phone?
Fucking technology.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. Well, we've been talking for long enough. I think we can wrap it up. Amanda, thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I hope you had a good time.
I've had a great afternoon. It's been fun.
You are awesome.
Been a lot of fun. I did want to tell you,
one of my favorite people.
Mike, that means a lot because you don't have very many favorite people.
I don't.
He tells me that all the time.
Well, you and Sarah are 2 of his favorites.
I got 5 fingers on a hand, and 4 of them are full.
I'm surprised Sarah's one of his favorite people because she's the first person his mom calls.
Oh yeah,
when he won't.
No shit.
I know.
When she's trying to give him advice and he won't listen, she calls freaking Sarah.
The other week, I think it was the week before last, maybe it was last week, you interviewed your realtor friend.
Yeah.
That was great.
And he was talking about the Adirondack Mountains of New York.
Yeah.
100%.
I've been there a few times.
Cool
My mom's family had a cabin there, and it was like an instant flashback for me, and I just freaking loved
That's
it. So I wanted to
amazing.
share that with you because I thought that was really cool.
That's
his
cool,
story about Colorado with those cowboys. he hired.
The Cowboys.
Yes.
So a lot of
Spot
people,
on.
I tell a lot of people on the podcast, usually I take everybody out to lunch first, just to kind of get people relaxed so that they are able to have a good conversation.
Right.
And so a lot of times the stories you hear on the podcast, I've already heard at lunch.
Yeah.
And honestly, that kind of sucks because the stories are so much better at lunch than they are.
Well, you're missing
podcast.
that initial hearing it for the first time.
Dude, he was cracking us up at lunch. Mike was on that episode.
He was amazing.
And Mike and I were like, dude, this is fucking gold.
That's awesome.
Badass.
He
It
was super
great.
cool.
Totally.
I thought he was great.
We tried to bring that whole story back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the cool thing is when I talk to people on the show, is I get to hear about places I haven't been. I've never been there before.
Right.
It's amazing. Beautiful, amazing.
But
you would never know landing, because we flew into New York City. You would never know what was coming.
New
and
York.
I was, I think, 13 the first time I went.
No, it's just the whole thing of people's experiences.
Yeah.
It's
Just well, you live, I mean, we grew up in
them.
Roseburg.
Right.
Shit, I'd never even seen a fucking black person until I joined the freaking military.
Right.
And there's so much stuff you take for granted.
There's a lot of life out there.
Total fucking reality.
But we live
Just
kind of
bam.
rurally, in a rural area or whatever. And I was raised here, and we went to that trip, and the cabin, my mom's family cabin that's on Livingston Lake, which is in the Adirondack Mountains, you boat in.
Yeah, there are no roads.
Once you get to the boat dock, everything you're taking to the cabin gets on that boat with you, and
that's
go
fucking
through
amazing.
these canals with these giant lily pads.
Didn't you just go back there not very long ago?
I went back there when my mom was terminally ill, and I was pregnant with Elizabeth. My mom wanted to she hadn't taken the grandkids there. That was on her bucket list of things, because that's a place from her childhood growing up that was very sentimental and important.
She wanted to share.
Yeah. It was really important for her grandkids to be able to see that.
I love it.
Was pregnant with Elizabeth.
That's
Braden was 8 and Shanice was about 10, 11, and I took her. I was a nurse then, and she was terminal at that point.
Yeah.
She told me, I really want to go, but I won't go without you. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm going.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. Yeah.
Here we go. Huh?
It's actually what I did moving back. I had to give notice at my job at Providence and told Bridgewood I can't start for a month because I'm taking my mom to New York.
I have previous plans.
Yep. That's what we did.
That was before you and I met.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I didn't meet you till I think Mariah and Lizzie were 3.
Yeah.
When I met Mariah. That's how I know when I met you.
Your mom had been gone for like a year or something like that.
Yeah, my mom died she's going to be gone 20 years this year. 2004, she died, December. So almost 20 fucking years ago, which is crazy to me.
Amazing.
My mom's been gone for about 24 years.
Damn, you guys.
25 years.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I loved hearing about the Adirondack Mountains. It brought back positive memories for me.
That's good.
That's
cool.
Was great.
That's what it's supposed to
that.
do. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, right on. Well, I'm glad you came on the show.
Yes.
Happy to be here. You'll have to invite my dad. He
Fun,
will
fun,
really enjoy
fun.
himself.
I already did. You told him.
100%.
I told him, but you'll have to actually reach out to him to schedule, and he'll arrange it. He would love to be here.
We'll make it happen.
We'll
get Big Jim on here. We'll get some old cop stories.
You'll hear lots of stories, yeah.
That's awesome.
Maybe we'll get some freaking Vietnam stories out of him even.
Nah.
I don't know, most of those Vietnam guys don't like talking about it.
He didn't talk about it for years. And then when I was in high school, I had a project for history where I was supposed to go home and ask my parent if I had, and I told my mom I need to call dad, and she goes, why? And I said, we're having this project on Vietnam, and she said, he may not. She said, honey,
100%.
he may not want to talk about it, and don't get your feelings hurt. If he tells you no.
It's the little fucking things.
Yeah, don't get your feelings hurt. He talks about it more now. But yeah, he didn't used to.
You guys kind of take advantage. You got plants and shit. My dad would not allow a plant in the fucking house.
Really?
Because it reminded him
it was
of
a trigger for him.
where he was at.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty nuts.
Triggers are crazy.
You might have to come
real life shit.
Me and Jim are
I
gonna
would
do some
happily.
whiskey.
It'll be great. It'll be great.
No problem. No problem.
Right on. Well, I really appreciate you being on the show. Like I said,
I love it.
I always love having you on the show.
Yeah, I'm here.
When you turn your phone off.
I know.
Yeah,
fuckers.
and you still don't listen.
Nobody ever calls me until we're here. You know, it's like, fuck. Technology.
If you turn your phone off, you don't know.
You don't even know. Yeah.
I tried.
Anyways, I'm glad you had a good time. I loved having you on.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Until next time, I guess we'll see you guys next time. Well, I won't see you, but I'll hear you.
Peace out.
I won't even hear you. You'll hear me.
Peace out.
You guys have a good one.